still waiting for the other judges. Prince is communicating with them. We'll start as soon as they are here.
We request everyone to kindly turn their cameras on so we can make sure we are well connected.
I think we should start because it will take quite a lot of time, right?
Yes, sir, we are starting now.
Yeah.
Dear esteemed judges and dear participants, welcome to the Responsibility Challenge of the 2023. I am Vinay Kumar, the Chief Coordinator of SAT 2023. The 23rd edition of Vista has been bigger and grander than before, with a record 65,000 registrations and participation from 100 plus colleges globally. The main driver for this has been this Global Social Responsibility Challenge, which has been a resounding success. And this year, with this competition, we have lived farther than that possible that we thought we could go. And that has been possible with the participation from you guys. We hope that you have had a lot of fun participating in this competition, and let's finish this competition with a bang. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Vinay. Hi, everyone. I'm Shreya. I'm one of the coordinators for this effort. Prince and I were the ones who went ahead and started this. And I welcome you all to the Global Social Responsibility Challenge 2023. And in this exciting competition, we invited participants from all around the world. And we had an overwhelming amount of responses and interest. And we had more than 3,700 participants from across 20 plus countries. And we realize that as the world becomes more interconnected, the need of global social responsibility has always been on the rise. And we can't just look at problems and solutions as per our own interest, but actually look at it from a more holistic point of view and tackle issues that affect communities, societies, and in general, the planet as a whole. We had an overwhelming amount of participation ranging from students, working professionals, entrepreneurs, and just people who were passionate about change making in general. And each of them brought a unique set of viewpoints and perspectives onto the table. And what we really, really appreciated is that participants actually thought of it from a global perspective and developed solutions that go beyond the geographical limitations that we have at the present. Today, our panel of 16 judges, consisting of experts and leaders, will now go ahead and evaluate our months-long effort based on your creativity, your feasibility, the potential that it has for impact, and what sustainable development practices you bring forth to the table. The effort that we made sure goes ahead is not just meant to be a platform for recognition, but also an opportunity to actually go ahead and get feedback from industry professionals. We really hope you had the chance to collaborate and learn from one another. All of us did as a team. And we hope you were inspired by the diverse set of solutions and the experiences you brought forward to the table. And we hope to learn from each other as we go along. I'll leave the stage for Prince to talk a little bit about how he went about with the process for the Global Social Responsibility Challenge as a whole.
Hello everyone, I am Prince Kumar, coordinator of the Global Social Responsibility Challenge. So for nearly 3 months, we have dedicated our effort to preparing for this monumental event. The GSRC sets itself apart from the competition by not solely focusing on the solution, but also emphasizing the approach. The participating teams embarked on their journey by submitting a comprehensive one-pager, demonstrating their perspective and comprehension of the business, as well as its social impact. Moving into the second round, these teams were received mentorship from seasoned industry experts, including founders, strategists, CXOs, marketing specialists, and business mentors, all possessing a diverse range of skill and experience. Esteemed individual guided by the change maker and help shape their thoughts, transforming abstract notions into tangible and actionable ideas. GSRC is breaking new ground by becoming the first case competition. We will live stream globally, reaching audience around the globe and showcasing the remarkable talent and innovation solution in the real time. Now over to Mugdha.
Hello, everyone. So I am thrilled to introduce our first judge to you, Chris Wadia. He'll be joining us shortly. Chris is the CEO of Humanized Leadership, a human-centric organization that helps companies accelerate growth, retain talent, and increase market valuations. He is also a member of the Governance Council for Genesis Group that revitalizes businesses digitally. And he's an advisor and mentor for multiple other organizations and startups. As a former managing director at Accenture, with experience across multiple industry verticals, Chris's career has spanned across 70 different countries. He delivers growth and transformation at speed and scale globally for clients seeking improved revenues, margins, and valuations. He was interviewed on the topic of sustainability at the World Economic Forum and was a keynote speaker for the United Kingdom Center for Army Leadership, with a worldwide audience of over 6,000 attendees. Chris Wadia is an accomplished leader and executive with a track record of successfully launching and revitalizing businesses, and we are very honored to have him here with us.
Hello, everyone. Our next jury member is Professor Saurav Mukherjee. Saurav Mukherjee is an academician with over 2 decades of experience in program management, process improvement, teaching, research, and consultancy. His expertise is in organization design, and research interest is in sustainability and inclusivity in businesses that addresses the needs of the poor in a financially sustainable manner. He has worked with IBM and Oracle in product management functions and for the Boston Consulting Group as a strategy consultant. He joined IIM Bangalore as a faculty member in 2003 and has since held various leadership positions in the institute. He is now the professor and the Dean of Alumni Relations and Development. He is also a mentor and advisory board member for social enterprises. He is the author of the book, Inclusive Business Models, Transforming Lives and Creating Livelihood. Professor Mukherjee is also an avid follower of sports, is an enthusiastic runner with participation in several cross-country marathons. And he always explores ways to transfer lessons learned from sports to management.
Hello, everyone again. So I am excited to introduce our third judge to you, Professor Nishant Kumar Verma. Professor Nishant Kumar Verma is a revered professor with over 10 years of experience in academia, first as a fellow at IIM Calcutta and then as a professor at IIM Bangalore. He has conducted extensive research about flexibility issues in supply chains and the requirements of manufacturing firms and startups. He has also worked on communication strategies during large-scale disruptions, such as examining the role of Twitter in mitigating the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on companies. He's also discussed the potential hurdles for India to become a drone hub by 2030. An exceptional educator, Professor Verma is passionate about involving everyone in his class and puts a large emphasis on classroom discussions, promoting two-way learning. And this has established him as one of the finest professors at IIM Bangalore. Now over to Shikham.
So good evening, everyone. I'll be introducing our fourth judge for today, fourth and last one, Mr. Anubhav Dubey. Anubhav is a remarkable entrepreneur who defied all odds to create a thriving business in highly competitive Indian market, the food industry. At the ripe young age of 22, Anubhav embarked on an entrepreneurial journey, deviating from his initial dream of becoming an IAS officer, giving birth to the renowned Chai Sutta Bar. Anubhav's journey with Chai Sutta Bar was nothing short of extraordinary. With an unwavering passion for tea and an astute understanding of the market, he, along with his co-founder Anand Nayak, transformed Chai Sutta Bar into one of India's trendiest cafe chains. Today, the brand has successfully expanded beyond India's borders, with over 450 outlets in 195 cities worldwide, crossing the 150 crore mark. As a motivational speaker, he shares experiences inspiring others to overcome obstacles and achieve extraordinary success through various platforms like TEDx and Josh Talks. He has also won several awards like the United Nations Young Changemaker Conclave Award and is also the president of FIRST Foundation. I'm glad to welcome all of our judges here.
We
Now,
would really appreciate if our esteemed judges would like to share a couple of words with the participants before we go ahead with the presentations.
I will go first. I am looking forward to how the participants have been able to look at that particular case study which has been given to them. And I am really very impressed by the fact that we had so much of participation from all over the world. It's probably the first time that's happening in Vista, that we are having so much of participation from all across the world. And I'm really looking forward to very high quality presentations from from participating groups.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll go next then. Warm welcome to all the participants. A lot of participations. Glad to always see such a kind of participation, and all the best. I think all of you guys are, I think, wondering about that itself. But I hope I'm looking forward to my own learning experience with the kind of perspectives I might be able to see here while you guys are presenting. But yeah, give your best shot, and I think it would be a great evening. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. Now,
Hello, everyone. So it's me again, and Chris Sir has finally joined us. So I'm about to introduce him again. So, Chris Wadia is the CEO of Humanized Leadership, a human-centric organization that helps companies accelerate growth, retain talent, and increase market valuations. He's also the member of the Governance Council for Genesis Group that revitalizes businesses digitally, and an advisor and mentor for multiple other organizations. A former managing director at Accenture with experience across multiple industry verticals, Chris's career journey has spanned over 70 different countries. He delivers growth and transformation at speed and scale globally for clients seeking improved revenues, margins, and valuations. He was interviewed on the topic of sustainability at the World Economic Forum and was a keynote speaker for the United Kingdom Center for Army Leadership, with a worldwide audience of over 6,000 attendees. Chris Wadia is an accomplished leader and executive with a track record of successfully launching and revitalizing businesses, and we are extremely honored to have him here with us.
Sir, if you could kindly share a few words before we go ahead with the presentations, we would be really honored.
Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here today and look forward to listening with keen interest as to the presentations by the various teams. I have been given a couple of technologies by which I will be doing the judging relatively recently, so I should be able to make everything work. You should assume that my contribution will be limited to helpful tips and tricks at the end of each presentation, if any, and being the most objective judge I can. Once again, thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you so much, sir. And we had, as I said before, we had close to 3,800 teams which registered, and multiplied that by close to 6, and that's the number of participation which came in. And we had a series of very interesting solutions and even more interesting team names. Without further ado, I'd like us to actually begin with the presentations. We'll start with Team LIM. Teams, kindly ensure that your cameras are turned on when presenting, because I assume that will make for a better experience for all of us. Let's go ahead.
Zhao Zazo, I have enabled the share permissions. You can start sharing your screen.
Okay, I'm opening my PPT.
Just to reiterate for everyone, we
So-
have 10 minutes of presentation followed by 5 minutes of
So
Q&A.
can you see the PPT now?
No.
Oh, why? So just. So now can you see my screen?
Still can't.
Says you have started the sharing, but it's not visible.
Share just that specific window.
So can you see the PPT now?
The screen is black.
What?
Okay, so by the team LIM starts with their looks at how to present themselves. I can call the next team. You can come in later, team LIM. Team ASH. Can you please begin with yours? We'll give the team LIM chance later. Don't worry about it. But for the interest of time, we have to move on. Team ASH, Aditya Prasad.
Just give us a minute. Sai, can you share the screen?
Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah. I guess the other team is able to share screen now. So should they go first then?
Are you able to share the screen, Team Malayam? Are you comfortable with presenting right now? Then we'll go ahead with Team Malayam. Team Malayam, should we go ahead with you?
So
okay.
is it?
It is
Yeah.
visible. Yes, it is.
We can see the screen now. So
Oh, okay, all right.
should we start now?
Yes,
You
let's
can
start with the
start.
presentation.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Team Lim from Fudan University, China. It is really a pleasure to have the opportunity to present our solutions for the case. I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to all of you for taking the time to be online with us today. We have named our strategy Nimovation, which is a combination of words name and innovation, because we wanna illuminate life through this name project in an innovative way. Before we delve into the details, let me provide a brief overview. Generally, we analyze this case using the shared value framework from the perspective of social, business, and corporate. We believe that companies can achieve both financial success and social impact by integrating social and environmental considerations into their core business strategies. And our presentation contains 4 parts. The first is social impact and measurement. The second is business impact and challenges. The third is shift framework. And the fourth is alternative strategies.
Okay, well, we will talk about the social impact and the measurement first. The social impact can be divided into 3 dimensions. The first is the rural community upliftment, including livelihood, opportunities creation, and income generation. And the second is the social equity and inclusivity promotions. The most important part is women empowerment and the reduction of their domestic violence chance. And the third one is the environmental sustainability. It's about fertilizer effectiveness improvement and soil health enhancement. And then we list some way to measure and evaluate those impacts, including recognition of awards, and lots of awards are mentioned in the case, and the stakeholder feedback and social impact studies. You can use several methods like survey, data collection, analysis, and interview, etc. to do about that. And finally, some key performance indicators like livelihood opportunities creations, employment rate, and poverty reduction rate. Then we talk about the business impact and the key challenges that GNFC will meet. The project helped GNFC to make a new name market, helped them to build a new brand and enter a new market. And also it gives GNFC competitive advantages about saving costs and the yield improvements. And partnership and collaboration make them establish a resilient supply chain to improve the market presence. But there are still lots of challenges that GNFC will have to face. Legal frameworks and policy changes quickly due to the require GNFC to have high adaptivity, and the GNFC should enhance the stakeholder engagement, including different partners. Also, it's very hard for GNFC to moving from pilot projects to larger scale while maintaining the financial sustainability. And also, it has a continuity risk. The name project has been primarily driven by the managing director, the guy only. So it has a continuity risk since there's a risk project disruption in the event of his departure. And to better evaluate their performance, and GNFC should develop appropriate metrics, gathering reliable data for further improvement. And finally, to enlarge the market, GNFC should motivate consumers to try new ESG products. In order to help GNFC to make better strategy, so we introduce a new theory. The shift framework is a conceptual framework that aims to bridge the attitude-behavior gap, which refers to the phenomenon where there is a disparity between individuals' attitudes and their actual behaviors. For example, customer mentally knows that the eco-friendly products are better for the earth, but they probably will not buy them. So in order to bridge the gap, shift drives customers' mental awareness from 5 dimensions. First one is the social influence. It means emphasize the role of social norms and group dynamics in shaping and influencing the individual actions. Second means habit. It means cultivating sustainable habits and routines. The third one is the individual self. It means to build a strong alignment between personal values, beliefs, identities, and pro-environmental actions. The fourth one is feelings and cognitions. It means creating positive emotional experiences and fostering cognitive awareness. The last one is tangibility. It means to provide concrete feedback, rewards, or visual representation of individual's action.
Leveraging SHIFT framework, we formulated alternative strategies in short-term, mid-term, and long-term phases, guiding consumer behavior to have a 5A shift from aware to advocate. And our strategy is mainly focused on 3 aspects. The first is internal optimization, which is mainly for the company to improve itself. The second is external collaboration, which is mainly for the company to establish cooperation to achieve win-win situations. The third is e-commerce development. Since the case material have already mentioned many offline channels, and the table 4 in the material indicates that there is still a lot of space to sell products online. So our alternative strategy mainly focus on this part. In the short term, about 1 to 3 months, the objective is to make consumers aware of and be appeared to our products. For internal optimization, the strategy is to promote brand story on TV and social media to tell the story behind the brand, including the reason for the establishment of the brand, ESG concepts, and social responsibility mission, so as to enhance brand recognition and consumer emotional connection. The company can also create a brand mascot to enhance brand image and customer emotional identity. This leverage the feelings and cognition concept of the SHIFT framework to evoke emotional resonance through vivid stories and images and so on. For external cooperation, the company can find KOLs with attention and influence on social media platforms and cooperate with them to promote the environmental protection characteristics and corporate social responsibility of the neem oil-based products. By inviting KOLs to use the products and share their experience, more and more consumers will be attracted to the product and be influenced to pay attention to the ESG issues. The company can also collaborate with established brands through co-branding initiatives to enhance the exposure and expand the reach of neem-based products. What's more, the company can also cooperate with NPOs and engage with communities through various activities like educational workshops, eco-friendly initiatives, and community outreach programs to show their commitment to social responsibility. This leverage the social influence concept of the SHIFT framework to enhance consumer awareness of ESG products through social media dissemination, celebrity effects, and so on. For e-commerce development, the company can display and sell products through social e-commerce like share chats, Rapsol, so that to increase product popularity and sales with the help of social sharing and community effects. Yeah, and in the midterm, about 4 to 12 months, the objective is to make consumers ask about the product and act to buy.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. We have only 2 minutes, so just be quick. Thank you.
Okay. For internal optimization, the company can use elaborate possible packaging, since table 5 in the case material indicates that lightweight neem products sell well. Besides, the company can introduce subscription services for neem products, and also they can set up membership points mechanisms. This leverage the habit formation concept of the SHIFT framework. For external cooperation, the company can also cooperate with communities to provide free samples, rewards program, or lucky draws to encourage customers to try the product and share the stars. Individuals of the Shift framework to increase consumer engagement. In this phase, consumers have already been aware of the products, and so we can sell products on search e-commerce like Flipkart and Amazon. And in the long run, our goal is to make consumers, next slide, please. In the long run, our goal is to make consumer advocate for our products and become fans and followers of our brand. For internal optimization, the company can establish an ESG office or department which is responsible for overseeing the products of projects operations.
10 minutes are up, so please wrap up your presentation in 20 seconds.
Yeah. And the company can also issue ESG reports and add environmental protection rules. And these all strategies leverage the tangibility concept of the Shift framework. And for external cooperation, the company can cooperate with consumers, and they can also fostering strategic partnerships.
All right, that's all the time you have.
Much Team LIM. That was a very interesting presentation. We leave the stage for our respected judges to go ahead and ask any queries and questions they have.
Okay.
Chris or Nishant, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. No worries.
Yeah, please go.
Yeah. So Team LIM, thanks for the presentation. Really nice presentation. I'm just wondering, like, as I go through the presentation, it seems like you are trying to cater to the customer end aspect of it, meaning how the customers would be on board with these products, how would they actually buy these products. But I just wanted to sort of do you think there are some logistics or supply chain challenges that this company might face, because of which, even though you can have all the marketing strategy, but still might not be able to fulfill the orders? What is your take on that?
Yes, for the supply chain, we think we can make a compliance review, a routine compliance review for every supply chain to make to ensure their transparency and their compliance, and we maybe force them to make ESG report for us and to make sure that every chain of our supply chain is obey the compliance and the governance rule and the legal framework.
Yes, and we can also implement traceability system to track and verify the origin and authenticity of the raw materials to make sure the quality of our products and of their supply. Yeah, and we think we can also make strategic relationships with key suppliers to maintain the relationship, and by a stable procurement volume, we think we can have a strong relationship with the suppliers. Yeah.
Thanks.
What about Chris?
Thank you, Saurav. Team LIM, on this occasion, I only have some tactical tips to share with you, if I may. You are clearly operating with English as a second language, and you have done extremely well, so well done. A couple of things to understand and appreciate in this type of situation. When you are given 10 minutes to present, you cannot have 10 slides. Your slides also need page numbers, and you cannot be reading point by point from them. In order to get your message across, I strongly recommend that you decide what are the 2 to 3 things that you would like people to take away from your slides and focus on those. One last tip I have for you. Because there are multiple stakeholders involved in this case study, you may wish to have a very simple table listing the stakeholders and also listing what will motivate them and how your solution will address the needs of the vast majority of stakeholders. So did I understand your presentation entirely? Absolutely, no issue there at all. Just a few tips for recognizing that in order to make a serious impact, it matters as much as how you are saying things as in addition to what you are saying. So just a little bit of feedback, because as you go forward and will be successful in future, I thought you might find these tips helpful. Thank you. Back to you, Saurav.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Those were very important words which Chris said, and I totally agree with him. I have a question. I probably missed focusing when you were showing the first slide. So can you just tell me, how are you assessing social impact of this initiative?
Yes, we're talking about the social page in these slides, and we're dividing into these 3 dimensions, as you can see in these slides.
Could you quantify that a little bit in any way?
Yeah, we used to quantify it a little bit, but we think maybe too complicated to see, to write too many numbers just to put it in the slides. So we just deleted the numbers.
But okay, the reason I was asking was, I mean, how satisfied or how impressed are you with the social impact that GNFC is creating? That's the question I wanted to know, right? Do you think they are creating a lot of social impact, or do you think that they are probably not doing that much? And how do you really assess that?
We think in a short term, maybe we can search the number of livelihood opportunities the company have created and the training program they have provided. And in the midterm, maybe we can see the changes in income levels, and we can also see the employment rate. And in the long run, we can see the poverty reduction, or to evaluate the improved quality of life or environmental sustainability.
Okay, thank you. That's nice. So that's all I had.
Thank you so much. And I think your questions and suggestions are really inspiring, helped us a lot. Thank you.
Much Team LIM. The next team that we'll go ahead with is Team ASH, and we leave the judges a minute to go ahead and actually give out marks to Team LIM on the platform. Meanwhile, Team ASH, Team ASH, if you can go ahead and share your screen, that will save time for all of us.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a second.
Just let us know when should we start.
I think from my side, you can start, because I'm making my own notes. I'll probably put on the marks later on. This is for the organizers. So if it is okay with the other judges, Chris and Nishant, then I think teams can keep on making presentation one after another. We will make our own notes and go on.
Sure, let's do it.
Chris, are you okay with that? Okay, let's assume he's okay.
Fine by me, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Then let's begin. Greetings to the panel. Team ASH welcome you all to the inspiring tale of GNFC's name revolution, where a project became a catalyst in revealing the profound impact of sustainable employment, economic upliftment, and social transformation. So, urea is one of the most prominent fertilizers for farmers, but there were certain illegal diversions where urea was used in the production of these industrial products. Government noticed this, and in 2012, they released a mandate in which 35% of urea had to be coated with neem oil. Even then, it was not effective. In 2015, our Prime Minister created another mandate in which 100% of the urea had to be coated with neem oil to stop such malpractices. However, there was still issue with the neem oil sold as it was adulterated with rice bran or palm oil and the price was too expensive for GNFC to buy. So until 2015, GNFC dealt with these three segments: fertilizers, chemicals, and NCO, where neem urea fall under the fertilizers category. GNFC started the neem project with production of their 100% pure neem oil, which led to a path to success for a landless laborer becoming a rural entrepreneur. And this was based on Potter's shared value model. In 2017, they realized that they were producing excess neem oil, and with this, they created a fourth vertical called Neoneem, where they entered the FMCG market. So they entered the FMCG market with no prior experience or prior knowledge. Now, how did GNFC succeed? First of all, before entering the market, they had a 3-point criteria to check whether in-house production of neem oil was an option. They checked for the availability of labor, neem seeds, and their infrastructure. Their top managers engaged with the social rural people, and they participated in agricultural fairs like Krishi Mahotsav, which created a good word-of-mouth publicity in the rural areas. Their entire supply chain created value and opportunity for the rural women, where they were included in the collection of seeds, where they became wage earners and then further got an opportunity in becoming entrepreneur in the VLCC level. These people were thoroughly trained and could perform different roles in the manufacturing setup and quality and extraction control. Further, GNFC expanded their market, as we can look at here, in more than 6 states, and then they had 49 NKSKs, which are their major source of revenue for the fertilizers. Now, how did GNFC create a social impact? So as we can see, they created value for 3 main segments: the rural women, farmers, and the end consumers. They focused on women empowerment and entrepreneurship, and there were so many benefits that were observed. As we can see, there was an overall increase in the expenditure of women in health, and there was significant reduction in the domestic violence. They created around 450,000 job opportunities for rural women, resulting in a 58% increase in their overall income. And also they could earn as high as 16 rupees per kg. There was a net saving per bag for a farmer and also relative increase in their overall land productivity. People who were unemployed were also trained and were provided employment post completion of their course.
So next, let's look at the business impact created by neem project. So the major outcome was that GNFC started producing their own neem oil. The neem seeds that were collected by the rural women were taken to the expeller plant, from where grade 1 virgin neem oil was produced, and that was used in the production of the Neoneem product range that they had. Neem cake, which was a byproduct, was then taken to the extraction plant, from where grade 2 neem oil was produced, and that was used for the coating of urea. All of this led to GNFC currently having the 4th highest share in the neem urea market. The growth of sales was at about 105%, and currently neem urea is their best-selling product and contributes to 23.7% of the total sales that they have made. Single-handedly, it has contributed to 26.8% of the growth seen in GNFC's business, and it has grown at a commendable rate of 10.81%. However, the Neoneem, the product range that they had, it only grew at a rate of 2.77%. Let's explore more about that in the key challenges slide. So we have plotted the likelihood consequence matrix, and we identified all the key challenges that they faced. And the biggest challenge that we found was urea is a heavily subsidized product under the new urea policy 2015 of Government of India. In that, there is a fixed MRP, there are fixed dealer margins, fixed incentive, and there are penalties in place if you do not meet the energy norms. Therefore, GNFC had to be incredibly efficient. The second challenge was that of the pricing. Because there was a lack of demand for their products from the customer side, the dealers and the retailers expected 30 to 35% margin. And as there was a social mission and high cost of production, the product prices were very high for the product segment that they had. This led to low sales, as Neoneem only contributed to 0.2% of the total sales revenue that they made. And they only contributed to 0.098% of the growth seen in the company. Other challenges were that of the seasonal uncertainty because of the unpredictable weather in India, business scalability because of the diversity in India in each and every state, and rural payments, which was another issue. Now let's explore the advantages or disadvantages of Neoneem segment in further detail. All of this is coming from the primary research that we did with the retail executive and head of sales of Neem project of GNFC. So the biggest advantage was the high quality and purity in their products. They created social impact by collaborating with Samagra Shiksha and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan mission. And they've had a very good customer retention rate of 30 to 40%. And further along in the future, they plan to launch into the premium segment by targeting the high-end consumers to increase their sales and the growth rate. Now, what were the disadvantages of the segment? The biggest disadvantage was that GNFC is not an FMCG company. They are a chemical and a fertilizer-based company. They did not have the marketing capabilities. They did not have a separate R&D team. They did not have a common marketing team. And all of this led to losses. They made losses of 22.62 crores over the past 4 years. And all of this combined has led to the biggest impact that currently they have stopped the production of grade 2 neem oil. They have started purchasing the grade 2 neem oil because they found it to be a very cheaper alternative.
So now that we have established that neoneem was not really profitable and that the production of grade 2 neem oil mitigated over the years to finally being nil, let's look at what was an alternative strategy GNFC could have incorporated in the year 2017. So could GNFC have sold its excess neem oil in India? The answer is a big no, because Indian markets could not afford their quality, which made it cost 3 times the market quotation. Could GNFC have entered other markets? Well, its head of sales had a different perspective. He said that the reason why GNFC was failing was because they lacked the speciality and the expertise. So entering other markets was again not an option for them. However, let's look at this interesting number. There were 66 countries to which GNFC was exporting in the year 2018-19. So could exports be a solution to the problem? Let's explore the global market here. India is the highest exporter of neem oil globally, with the market projected to grow at a global rate of 16.2%. And we have also listed the top destinations of neem oil export in November 2020 on the table on the left. In the table on the right, we see a competitive overview where it can be very well seen that Sun Bionaturals India, which is the largest exporter of neem oil from India, is pricing their product much higher, 70 rupees per liter higher than Neoneem's product offering. Therefore, there would be a willingness in global market to pay even more and get it. Now let's start to critically analyze GNFC. We should view GNFC as a government-backed venture and not as a private corporation. The reason is that the government holds a direct 45% stake in the company, which means that GNFC has access to resources and ecosystem that are not available to private players, which is really important in scenarios like COVID pandemic to navigate through this testing and trying times. If we start exporting, should it be B2B or B2C? We believe it should be B2B because of GNFC's domestic success. Let's start targeting the countries and the locations. The top 3 destinations would be United States, Australia, and Canada. In the rows in the orange in the table, we have highlighted the customs duty tax. For US, it would be 3.2% ad valorem, and Australia and Canada would be free because of India's most favored nation status. In the white rows, we have shown the costings for the respective certifications required to initiate sales over there. In the rightmost column, we have shown the prospective clients. And once we enter a deal with these clients on the moving to domestic side, they would have to declare for what reason they are exporting neoneem. Is it for agriculture, FMCG, or complementary and alternative medicines? That's CAM. CAM is growing at a global rate. It's a promising market because of the push by the Ministry of Ayush by the government of India. Again, it's for Ayurvedic and naturopathy supplements. So let's summarize this entire strategy in numbers. Currently, Neoneem was making 22.62 crore losses, which can translate into a positive revenue of 9.1 crores should it start exporting its 260 metric tons of neem oil, which will further translate into minimum of 14 lakh rupees per annum being used for creating social impact.
So despite the fact that Neoneem project was making losses, GNFC continued their CSR activities through Narmada Nagar Rural Development Society, which is NADES. GNFC has implemented diverse CSR projects benefiting sectors like women empowerment, rural development, education, and many more. With a total spend of 38.1 crores, NADES has made a significant difference in the lives of about 27,000 individuals in the last year alone. GNFC offered FMCG manufacturing training to 100 women beneficiaries, creating employment opportunities within the company. They have prioritized rural development, empowering 80,000 people in 20
10
villages.
minutes are up. Please wrap up your presentation in 20 seconds.
Additionally, they have provided mobile medical van from which they provided healthcare to about 1,000 poor individuals. Now, how does GNFC assess the effectiveness of all these activities? GNFC takes a comprehensive approach to measure this activity. They allocate approximately 1 crores to administrative overheads and dedicate approximately 2 lakh to impact assessment. Their work plans, as you can see, follow a very systematic process. In conclusion, I would like to say GNFC's NEEM initiative has successfully created socio-economic benefits for rural communities while contributing to their own business growth through their Neonym project. However, a key challenge lies in establishing a market and profitability for the Neonym segment. To overcome this, we propose the idea of exporting the excess neem oil and utilizing that income generated to further support their CSR activities. On the basis of our primary research, GNFC will continue its commitment to CSR initiatives. These are the appendix. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Team Ash. That was a wonderful presentation. Just to let everyone know, we also now have Mr. Anubhav Dubey, who we introduced at the start. He is a remarkable young entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, UN Changemaker Conclave Award winner, and of course, the founder of our beloved Chai Sutta Bar. Thanks a lot for joining us, sir. We'll now open the floor to all of the judges for any questions and queries they might have for Team Ash.
Thanks for having me here. Wonderful listening to you all.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'll go first if it's okay.
Go ahead, Nishant. Go ahead.
Yeah. So thanks, Team Ash. Quite a detailed presentation. I really liked it. And yet I could get the details out of the presentation. So great job at that. My question is a slightly different one. So let's say, suppose your strategy works out for the company and they are able to actually export, make the money that you expect them to make from those markets. And you're saying that they can support their current CSR activities. My question is, how would you actually utilize this excess money, let's say if they generate in terms of profit, not in the new CSR activities, but in the current, their major initiative, which is that to empower the villagers or the rural people who are collecting these neem seeds, right? I hope you get my point, meaning that I'm trying to understand how would you utilize that excess money, not for any new CSR activity, but to, if you were to consult the company and think of a distribution of this money within the current existing.
Yeah. Sahil, could you go to the key challenges slide? So during our primary research that we were doing, GNFC conducted a survey in the areas that they have their business operating. And in that we found that rural payments is still an issue in 2023 in India. Only 49% of the rural women that they are working with have their own bank accounts. Only 46% of the women that they are working with have their own mobile phones. So they can put this amount and give them excess of the income for the seed collection that they're doing. Currently, they are still only getting 15 to 16 rupees per kg. And even then, with the amount that GNFC is providing, they cannot still afford their own bank accounts or their own mobile phones. So we must help and use that amount of about roughly 14 lakhs to increase the livelihood of these people.
All right. Thanks. Thanks.
Chris or Anubhav, anybody wants to go?
Sure. So, Saurabh, it might just be simplest if we follow the sequence, which is Nishant, myself, yourself, and perhaps Anubhav, so we all know when to speak.
Yeah, so I can come in the end, and if there is no time, then you three can ask. So you go ahead, Chris. After that, I will ask Anubhav, and then if there is time, I will ask.
So once again, to all the participants, my fellow jurists, Nishant and Saurabh, are far more familiar with the case content. So I'm going to restrict myself to providing hopefully helpful tips and tricks on how to get the message across better. The fundamental observation I have with this presentation is the initial slides seem to be more of a history lesson rather than setting the background for the answer that you wanted to deliver. So I would propose that slide 1 always just basically starts with the answer. And then what you do is you go back and you explain how you arrived at this particular conclusion. Second, I know this is IIM Bangalore, but it's always helpful, given the fact that we do have global participants, to consider pricing things in US dollars, not necessarily just INR. Third, you use some acronyms that are unique to India, and whilst these may be understandable by people of Indian origin, they're not necessarily understandable by others. And finally, if you are going to have such busy slides, it does make sense for you to use a pointer so as to indicate to people where you are on the slide. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're requiring or creating essentially cognitive dissonance, whereby it's challenging for somebody to try and reconcile continually what you're saying with where it's appearing on the slides. Again, I'm trying to be helpful here because you are all incredibly bright and detail-oriented people, and you all are going to do well in life. I'm just trying to help you get the case across in a far cleaner, simpler manner than perhaps you might have been able to do today. Thank you very much. Handing back to to Anubhav, I believe.
Thank you, sir.
Anubhav, you have a question?
Hey,
Yeah, please go ahead.
hey, hello guys. I'm really sorry I joined in the middle of the session, so couldn't grasp the pointers. We'll see. I will ask if there is anything I get in the middle. Thank you.
Okay, so team, I really like your presentation. I mean, the kind of work that has gone. Very impressed that you actually could do primary research to put forth your analysis. Very comprehensive. I had a kind of a clarification. I mean, towards the end, you were talking about the CSR funds, and I guess you wanted to say that with those funds, they are creating substantial social impact. But those funds are not coming from GNFC's NEEM initiative, right? So they are primarily coming because it's an incredibly profitable fertilizer company. So, I mean, am I correct in my understanding? That's what I wanted to check. That NARDES is not being funded by NEEM initiative. It's being funded by GNFC, which is primarily a fertilizer company.
Yes, sir. So NEEM initiative had two major impacts. One was the Neo-NEEM segment, and the second impact was the NEEM urea segment. So the Neo-NEEM segment that they have, that is not profitable. But the
That's
NEEM,
anyway making losses. Yeah.
But the NEEM urea segment that they have, that is incredibly profitable. If you look at the numbers, the NEEM urea segment of it, if you look at the growth that is happening in the NEEM urea segment.
But Aditya, NEEM coating is now common for all urea companies, right? So there is nothing uniqueness about the fact that they are putting NEEM oil around urea. So, right. So the idea, I mean, the point I'm trying to make here is that that is possible because they're a urea manufacturing company.
Yes,
I mean, not because they're having a NEEM initiative.
Yes, so that point is extremely clear from yours, that the Neo-NEEM segment is not profitable, and the majority of that income that they're putting in the NARDES section is because of the other segments that they have. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, but good work. In fact, I would like to get in touch with you later on to just get some of the details which you have put in the slide.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That's Team Ash. And thanks a lot, judges, for your really helpful suggestions about how to make the solutions more novel and inclusive globally. While the judges are either ranking or writing down their feedback for Team Ash, we would like Team SNS to start sharing the screen.
Can anyone from Team SNS please confirm?
Yeah. I'm just sharing my screen.
Sure.
Is it visible?
Yes, this is visible. You can start now.
Good evening, everyone. We are Team SNS from Shri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. To begin with, I would like to give a brief overview about Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers and Chemicals, which began its operations in 1976 and has been making remarkable progress ever since. Social impact has always been their priority over profits. In 2015, GNFC expanded its operations into FMCG sector, driven by the desire to utilize the excess NEEM left after coating urea. By diversifying into FMCG, GNFC aimed to generate additional growth while creating employment opportunities for millions of people. Today, we'll analyze the impact of GNFC's Green Initiative, particularly their entry into FMCG and the social upliftment done through their initiative. We'll assess whether this diversification was the right choice for the company or if they could have explored some other viable alternatives. Going forward, the Indian FMCG market has immense potential due to an increasing population, rising incomes, and growing urbanization. Diversifying into the FMCG sector has been a positive step for GNFC. It has helped them gain more customers, boosted their market share, provided opportunities for growth, and also improved their interactions with consumers as they moved from a B2B to B2C channel. No doubt, FMCG sector offers so many advantages, but can everyone reap these advantages? The answer is a resounding no. Surviving cutthroat competition and securing a significant market share is essential to earn the highly sought after profit margins. If your brand does not establish a strong position, it can easily get lost among the countless competitors. Not just this, moving to an industry which is so different to the current business is a challenge in itself because it requires organizational adaptations from B2B to B2C, marketing expenditure, supply chains modification, and a complete change of organizational culture. Over to you, Shashank.
Thank you, Saisha. Yeah. So the GNFC to overcome these challenges can move into a different sector. We have chosen a sector which is not only profitable for the company, but is also but also creates a sustainable future. The alternative sector is the biofuel production sector. Now, why did we choose neem oil to produce biofuel? Well, neem oil and diesel have similar chemical properties which can be seen in the table here. Neem oil emits a lesser amount of greenhouse gases and is a biodegradable source of energy, which in turn is beneficial for the future. Biofuel is a suitable alternative for GNFC as the sector has less competition, it is not highly commercialized, and GNFC has already the required infrastructure for production of biofuel. GNFC will not even have to change its organizational structure to B2C. Moving on. Yeah. Next slide. Saisha, next slide, please.
Just a second, there's some issue.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So we have used the Porter's 5-force analysis for the comparison between the two sectors, FMCG and biofuel. Firstly, FMCG is a highly competitive market and it has a lot of substitute products, but biofuel does not. Because of high competition, buyers have high bargaining power in the FMCG sector. In India, there are more than 400 companies in the sector, which makes the bargaining power of suppliers high too. In contrast, the bargaining power of supplies in the biofuel sector is very moderate. There are moderate barriers to enter the biofuel sector, which is due to high government incentives and other concerns. However, it is fairly easy to enter into the FMCG market as it does not require a huge amount of capital to be employed. It is clear that FMCG is a highly competitive market due to the presence of national and international giants, but biofuel is a fairly new sector and thus has a low competition. The biofuel sector, yeah, Saisha, please next slide. Saisha, can you please move on to the next slide?
Actually, there is some issue while changing the slides. Just a second.
Previous slide.
Just a second.
Not this one. Yeah. We are very sorry for the delay. So as we can see in this slide, the biofuel industry in India is an expanding market. 1.46 million ton of biofuel was produced in the year 2017. The government has also shown its interest in the production of biofuel by providing incentives and legal compliances. Biofuel blends like B20 and B100 create a much necessary social impact by decreasing the amount of greenhouse gases like carbon monoxide and hydrocarbon emitted. B20 blends can also be used in the current engines without any significant modification. Usage of B20 may require some time. Currently, there are a few players already involved in this market like IOCL, PPCL, HPCL, etc. These companies, which primarily focus on trading fuel, have already started researching on production of biofuel. Few of the companies have also successfully executed pilot projects, which prove that biofuel is a promising sector. Now, moving on to the challenges and the challenges of the biofuel sector. We can see that GNFC may face challenges in this particular sector. The challenges can be the scale of neem oil production. It can be making it economically viable. Sasha. Previous slide. Yeah, Sasha, previous slide. Yeah, thank you.
This one, right?
Yeah. So GNFC faces challenges in the biofuel industry, including production of neem oil at a larger scale, making it economically viable, ensuring engines that can use it, and meeting the market demand. Currently, the existing infrastructure blends support B20, which means 20% biofuel content mixed with 80% diesel. However, GNFC can use its existing strengths like its existing supply chain, chemical departments, expertise, processing units, government support, being a joint-owned company, and research capabilities to overcome these challenges. Next slide. Yeah, in this particular slide, as we can see, India has a potential of producing up to 0.7 million tons of 0.7 million metric tons of neem oil every year. But only 4% of this potential is currently being used in coating of urea. Even if we estimate that 10% of the potential is being used currently, we can substitute 650 billion liters of diesel every year. Coming to the costing and the pricing of biofuel, B20 would cost about 95.8 rupees and B10 would cost about 86.3 rupees in the market as compared to diesel, which is currently at 96, therefore making it approximately similar. Not only this, biofuel in reality is leading to cost savings associated with lower pollution, better health, and increased productivity, approximately to 17 rupees per liter. Next slide. Now, moving on to the main question, there are several energy alternative sources to why should we choose biofuel? Well, when it comes to EVs and hydrogen-powered vehicles, India needs to work a lot on its infrastructure. When compared to other oil seeds, neem has the benefit of being a non-edible oil. CNG, on the other hand, produces methane, a greenhouse gas which is not emitted by neem oil biofuel. Over to you, Saisha.
Yeah, thank you. When it comes to measuring social impact, companies like GNFC face a significant challenge. Unlike financial performance, there aren't many straightforward methods to quantify and compare it. To address this, we have developed a comprehensive framework that considers various aspects, including financial performance, social impact, environmental sustainability, economic efficiency, supply chain management, and transparency in reporting. Within each category, we have identified a list of key performance indicators. For example, we have number of employees within financial performance and gender equality, boost to entrepreneurship, and reduction in migration within social performance. For environment impact, we have greenhouse gas emissions per unit of output and environmental impact score improvement. For each KPI, we can set up targets for the year and then compare the actual performance with the target set. Moving ahead, we have created an ESG materiality matrix on the basis of these KPIs. The x-axis represents the impact on GNFC and the y-axis represents the impact on stakeholders. This helps in understanding the relative significance of each indicator in terms of its impact on both the company as well as the stakeholders. While boost to entrepreneurship, reduced gender disparity, and reduction in migration are relevant for social development, they do not contribute much to the growth of GNFC. However, generating employment, maintaining trust and transparency, satisfaction of suppliers and employees are crucial for both stakeholders and the company. Moving ahead, we have tried to estimate the social return on investment, which is a measure of social value created against the resources invested. By creating employment, both direct and indirect, which further have ripple effect in the form of additional savings and investment, GNFC was able to generate a significant economic impact. It helped boost entrepreneurship culture, reduce migration, and improve gender equality by giving employment to more than 4.5
the team to kindly wrap up the presentation.
To more than 4.5 lakh women. By growing neem, they also prevented soil degradation and had a huge environmental impact. So in totality, it generated 2.04 rupees of social impact for every 1 rupee invested. We also compared the performance with respect
to... with all due respect, we would request you to kindly stop now because we need to be fair to all the teams. Thank you so much. That was a very detailed and amazing presentation. We will now leave the stage for the judges to go ahead and ask any questions they might have.
Thanks. I'll go first then. Good presentation, guys. Thanks for the presentation. And let me just ask my question in different manners. Let's say I'm an advocate for GNFC and their current strategy as they are implementing. We are in 2017. It's mentioned in the case that they are losing money, let's say, in terms of their other neem-based products apart from the neem urea. And it has been mentioned that they are currently giving more margins to these retailers to push their product to the retail space, right? And it is precisely because of this reason it seems to be the case that right now they are losing money. But it is also expected that once the demand for the product increases, I can actually reduce later on the margin and start gaining some money out of it, right? That's the current proposition that is there in 2017. So it seems to me that's a very valid strategy because every startup nowadays is in the same space, right? So I have to first reach out to the market, and then I can, once I have a huge market, I can start gaining some money out of it. My second argument to you would be that going into a biofuel industry, which is technically very difficult for you to enter as compared to making soap out of neem oil. Now you're asking me to make, let's say, a biofuel out of neem oil, right? So if I give you these 2 pointers from GNFC's point of view, what is your answer to GNFC? That why aren't these strategies? The current one is better than what you are proposing. What is your answer to that?
So basically, sir, like in FMCG, while making soap is easy, and that is actually the primary reason for so many competitors being in that field, because it is easy. And when it comes to biofuel industry, it is an emerging industry. Not many players are there, and it is a difficult industry as well to enter. But we feel that GNFC has a strong background. They have chemical departments expertise. They have existing processing units as well. They are already dealing in chemicals. So when we compare it to other companies who would try to enter into the biofuel segment, it would be easier for GNFC to enter and then maintain their proposition. So that is the primary reason we chose this industry, because we feel that it aligns with their core competence.
Also, yeah, I would like to add in our answer. So basically, GNFC is in a B2B marketplace. So FMCG sector is mostly related to business to consumer. So the company will directly have to approach the consumers on the ground level. So instead of that, the company can continue its current organizational structure. It can move into the B2B market only rather than going into the B2C, which requires a lot of expertise and will also require a lot of capital to be moved into that particular field.
Thanks.
I gather it's my turn next. Once again, continuing the theme of being constructively positive, no page numbers again. At some stage, I think I saw 21 slides. Bringing 21 slides to a 10-minute presentation doesn't quite work for me. If you were not informed that you had only 10 minutes, I fully understand, but otherwise I would ask you to, just reconcile the pragmatic view of what it is that you need to get across in a highly competitive environment in a very limited time period. On the plus side, I like the fact that your KPI slide had got clearly defined targets on it. I would also recommend that when you do your ESG materiality slide, that you actually map them directly against the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals rather than the 15 that you had. Because if you're always measuring something against an established benchmark, it makes life a lot easier for everyone to follow. Thanks, and well done again.
Mr. Anubhav, if you have any questions for the team.
I'm good, thank you.
Professor Saurabh?
Right. So good work. it's very interesting that you have taken efforts to do a social return on investment. How did you judge what was the investment?
So basically, we had some inputs in the case study itself, like the income that they were generating for the people. So according to that, we were also using their past records, like their balance sheet, and in the normal segment that in which they are operating, they had a profit of about 13%. So we have approximately taken it as 5%, considering that this is a new initiative. And according to that, I'll just show the appendix. Yeah, so we basically.
My question is, what is the? I'm not asking the numerator. I'm asking the denominator. You said that for
yes,
every
sir.
rupee investment, they are generating a 2 rupee kind of social return, right?
Yes, sir. We have shown this in the table below, where we have taken the expenditure and the sum total we have taken as 476 millions.
How did you get that figure is what I'm asking.
Basically, we have taken as a 5% profit margin, considering that it is their third year of operation in the FMCG segment. And it was mentioned also in the case study itself that they were having a target of 500 million by 2018. So on the basis of that, we first calculated the economic, social, environmental impact, and then by dividing by the initial investment, some of them are assumptions because we could not find the exact figures. So on the basis of that, we have calculated the SRV.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Team SNS. That was a very innovative and very detailed take on the solution. I would like to invite a very interesting team name again. Team Green Force X and Strathclyde Royal Challenges. If you could kindly go ahead and share your screen. Meanwhile, the judges can go ahead and note down their details and remarks on the presentation by Team SNS.
Is it visible now?
We can begin now.
I'm good. You can begin.
Yes, please.
So, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Team Green Force. I am Bangalore and Strathclyde Royal Challengers, and we are absolutely elated to be in the finals of the Global Social Responsibility Challenge. So, briefly, the agenda: we'll start with the business impact, then look into the challenges, and then the way forward, and ending with the roadmap for the solution implementation. Now, GNFC was established in 1976 with the sole aim of manufacturing urea and nitrogenous fertilizers. But in over 4 decades of operations, it has diversified itself into many portfolios, such as energy, electronics, etc. But its shining light has been its foray into the social enterprise, where we see that since 2014, the NEEM project has been able to have a huge impact on the society. Now, let's look into a small video which showcases this. Now, to delve deeper into the social impact, let me tell you the story of Lakshmiben Ajit Singh Dabi, a 48-year-old mother of 3 from Chiplial village in Khera district of Gujarat. Just by being an aggregator of neem seeds, she was able to increase her annual income by almost 50%. Now, she's not a small aggregator. She manages the entire logistics of collecting 30 tons of seeds from various sources. Just imagine the boost of confidence that this project has inspired in her. Through her entrepreneurial spirit, she has been able to impact the lives of over 100 women as well. Apart from empowering women at the grassroots level, the NEEM project also provides incremental livelihood opportunities to a large number of landless agricultural laborers. In terms of skill development, many of these men and women have been trained in various basic and advanced skills such as soap making, sales, etc. And we should also note that the social impact of this project contributes significantly to the UN SDG goal number 1 of no poverty and goal number 5 of gender equality. In the coming slides, we will try and look into how we can create more such Lakshmi Bens in the different corners of our country.
Every social enterprise faces a trade-off between purpose and profit. If we take the example of two Indian companies of Amul and Lijjat Papad, we see the delicate balance that these companies were able to create between the two. They established purpose by creating a collective ownership of the rural stakeholders and through empowering them through work from home opportunities for women and also by establishing support programs for knowledge dissemination. The source of their competitive advantage or their profit is through establishing a very high quality and affordable product, having a very strong distribution network, and building a strong brand. Basis this, we believe that the way forward for the NEEM project is to have second-level leadership buy-in to establish long-term sustainability, establishing the project as a cooperative or a Section 8 company, and focusing on rebranding and building a strong distribution network and also marketing efforts. It is very important for the NEEM project to be self-sustaining. Currently, it has been using the infrastructure and the human resource of GNFC. However, we project the business numbers, assuming that they will be able to establish themselves as a reliable source of neem oil-based products. We believe that they will be able to generate a gross profit margin of around 40% and an EBITDA margin of around 10% by the year 2025. They will also generate an incremental income of around 50 crores for 1 lakh plus rural stakeholders. Finally, we have also assumed marketing and distribution costs of around 12% of revenue over the years. In order to achieve these performance, what we need to understand is the organic personal care market, which the NEEM project will enter. We are targeting the sales of 75 grams of neem soaps, which account for around 67% of their current sales. The organic personal care market is expected to reach around 160 billion rupees by the year of 2027 and have a CAGR of 20%. The key competitors that the NEEM project is going to face is going to be Patanjali, Medimix, and Himalaya. What we observe across the price ranges of products is that each of these competitors have specific geographic targets, very strong distribution and marketing strategy. For example, Medimix has particular tie-ups with hotel chains throughout the country. So the key challenges for the NEEM project would be to create strong brand awareness amongst its existing customers. The sector that it is entering is a low ticket item sector. So the profit will be generated mostly through establishing a high volume sales. For that, they need a very strong distribution network. Finally, currently the NEEM project has very low geographical presence. So the way forward for this would be to focus on specific states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan, where they already have existing physical distribution networks through their NKSKs and the fertilizer dealership stores. Secondly, they should also focus on increasing their digital marketing strategy so that they can increase their D2C sales through their own websites, through e-commerce sites like Amazon, and also through search engine optimization. In the short and medium term, they could also become reliable raw material providers for established FMCG brands. And finally, they could also expand into a new product category like personal health, beauty products like neem face packs. So they need to focus on marketing and distribution strategy to establish themselves.
To make any marketing strategy successful, we need to first understand our audience, who they are and what do they expect in a product. Now, neem being an Ayurvedic and herbal product can cure many of the pain points of our target consumers, wherein we are targeting all the generations, Gen Z to Gen X. And we have worked on how do they make their purchasing decisions and have carved out this strategy to reach them accordingly. Now, and we are also looking at GNFC through the lens of the 4P of marketing. Now, once we understand our audience, what we need to work on is improving the online and offline presence. Now, we have checked the websites and there are two of them. One of them, the response time is very high, and the other one, the interface is not very good. The use of keywords is actually a very low-hanging fruit and doesn't need much investment and can be used, but in this case, it has not been used, whereas our competitors are using it quite aggressively. Also, our target audience doesn't like wasting time and wants fast actions. To accomplish this, the website can have the following features like having a user-friendly navigation, etc. Coming to the retail marketing sector, apart from the already existing GNFC Neem stores, we can also tie up with hyper and supermarkets such as Vishal, DMart, and Big Bazaar and introduce sales promotions and offers to be rolled out, such as buy one, get one free, buy 3 packs of soap and get a shampoo, things like that, and tap into the special festive seasons to increase the offline sales of the product. To reach the tech-savvy audience who desire greater value, social media is a powerful tool in today's age, but GNFC has a very negligible social media presence. And to increase this, to cater to the wide audience, we can design creative posts such as these, and which showcase our benefits of the products and discounts. Hashtag and email marketing can also be a great way to encourage user-generated content and create a buzz around. For offline marketing, we can have billboards such as this one, the distribution of pamphlets and newspaper advertisements. And these strategies will offer a powerful and impactful way to reach a wider audience and cut through the noise and create brand awareness. This, along with our online promotions, will ensure the success of our integrated marketing strategy, which in the future can also be developed into an omni-channel approach.
If we look at the distribution strategy for existing networks, we need to focus at specific states, as mentioned earlier. These states account for around 55% of the total sales that GNFC is already doing. We need to rebrand our product, marking it as a freshness of neem and the pureness of lime, and ensure that these products are highlighted properly in the stores and also displayed properly. For the new networks, what we currently want to do is to establish ourselves as a reliable source of raw material providers. We can do contract manufacturing for neem soap noodles, which is a $2.5 billion industry in India in 2023, and reach out to various established FMCG networks for a reliable source of raw materials. Finally, we divide the plan that we have across immediate targets of focusing our efforts on digital marketing, medium-term targets such as establishing ourselves as reliable raw material suppliers, and long-term targets to establish ourselves throughout the country. The key KPIs that we will track throughout the 3 terms is social KPIs such as the jobs that we create, the social ROI for the investments that we produce, and also commercial KPIs like the number of customers we reach, and also the margins and cash flows. The commercial KPIs are important to ensure that we are able to continue the NEEM project sustainably in the long term and ensure that we are able to create the impact that we are currently creating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team, for that crisp presentation. I'll leave the floor open to the judges.
Yeah. So thanks, team, for the presentation. Nice presentation. I have just a couple of questions, very quick questions. Can you just go to the distribution slide? Yeah, distribution strategy. I was not very clear with respect to which aspect of distribution are you catering to here. Like contract manufacturing could be your supplier side, but if I were to talk about how would you reach out to the maximum number of customers possible, from that perspective, I couldn't really get what is the maybe your strategy or solution here. I was not clear to that.
Okay, so actually what we are trying to do is, like we have divided into 2 parts. One is the established networks that they already have, which would be through the fertilizer dealerships, the NKSKs, and also the retail dealerships that they have.
Which is maximum of sales are
certain
right
cities.
now currently with those channels. Fair enough.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to understand, like when you say developing new networks, the
Yes.
channels that you have mentioned, such as e-commerce, I'm just trying to understand how would you enable that, like the distribution, the supply chain aspect of it.
So basically, if we talk about the e-commerce part of it, it is mostly dependent on the kind of digital marketing that we will be able to do and the kind of traction that we'll be able to generate through our company websites and ensuring like we use the search engine optimization properly, which they are not currently doing.
My one input would be when you're talking about distribution here, you're still talking about marketing.
Sure. Yeah.
So when you talk about distribution, it is distribution, not marketing. So I just wanted to highlight that I was not able to clearly differentiate between your distribution strategy and marketing strategy. Sounded same to me because you're talking still about the marketing. Okay. Nevertheless, I do get your point. You're trying to utilize number of channels to reach out to the customers. So one quick question for the second point, you showed some of the advertisements or the packaging actually, sorry, which one could use for the NEEM products that this company has. If you were to point out one unique thing about GNFC, which is not there in their competitor products, what would you like to highlight in their product, which is not there with, let's say, Himalaya and the other Patanjali products? What is one unique thing that you can suggest to GNFC?
Yeah, the 100% purity, the purity of the neem oil is something that is the most unique factor in GNFC's neem products.
So is it there in the packaging that you have 100%
Yeah, so
purity?
like we have said here, with the goodness of 100% pure neem oil.
All right. Thank you.
So if I was to add a couple of things, aside from the usual boring stuff about having slide numbers so that we actually know where we are. The strategy of using video is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if you have tested the video earlier with the organizers, that would be a good tip for you, because there's nothing more embarrassing than it not working, in which case you have to make an objective decision live as to whether you wish to proceed with the video or not, and ensure that there is no essential information in the video that can materially affect your presentation if it doesn't work on the day. I also liked your attempts to personalize a story of a particular individual. Unfortunately, what you said verbally did not match what was appearing on the slides. So if you are going to personalize a story, then make sure that you have the name and the face of the person about whom you're talking so that the viewers can relate to it. So both strategies are effective, the video and the personalization. I'm just giving you some tips and tricks for making them more effective when you use them a second time around. Thank you.
We actually had the photo of, we take the feedback. We had the photo of the lady there on the slide when we're talking about her. So Lakshmi Ben Ajit Singh Dabi is there on the right side of the slide.
I understand. So bear with me. I understand you're talking about one woman. I now see a photo with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 women. Am I supposed to guess which one you're talking about?
No, sure. We'll have it.
I'm very cautious about what I say, but when I say something, it's for a specific reason. So if you're personalizing it to one individual, then you can't have photos of 10 women. You need a photo of one woman. That was the point of it.
Sure. Noted, sir.
So somewhere you have suggested using a common distribution channel or a marketing channel. Now tell me, who is the customer when you're talking about selling neem oil based soaps, that too of very high purity? Who is your customer?
We are targeting, like we have said, we are targeting Gen Z as well, millennials as well, and they have different pain points when we see. And like, for example, if you see Gen Z's pain points is acne and dandruff. So we are targeting them, saying that this 100% pure neem oil will cure your.
Right. So where are they going to be located usually?
They will be in the tier 1 cities or the metro cities.
Where is the current network distribution for GNFC?
It is in the rural area.
So how are you going to leverage that?
So we have put in the distribution strategy that we'll be going into the e-commerce platform, and through the e-commerce platform, we'll be we'll be catering to this audience as well.
No, that is different. But I'm saying using existing network, existing distribution channel to sell soap is not something that I understood. I mean, if you had hinted, I thought listening to your presentation, you were saying that. Whereas just to realize that these are two completely different segments. And that's one of the challenges that GNFC has struggled with, right? That the existing distributions network cannot be used for selling these kind of soap, which kind of brings a very large question. Then should they at all sell soap? Why would a fertilizer company sell soap? Right. Anyway, I mean, so that's something to think about. Okay. So thanks a lot.
Okay, I guess this is my turn. So team, first of all, it was an amazing experience to go through these slides and listening to the fellow judges, which are way more experienced than me. Well, my just name is Anubhav. the rest experience lies with the other juries. So I'm really happy to see this. And I'm really glad that you guys know that no social cause can happen without profit. If no huge profit, that at least you have to be in the equilibrium, no profit, no loss. And being backed by big companies, it's easy to run. And I really wanted to know your TG, as you said, you're targeting Gen Z, even we are targeting Gen Zs, but Gen Zs spend way less than the family and less loyal comparatively to the family. So how are you planning to target the family crowd?
The family crowd, we have in the distribution strategy, we are also talking about partnering with the hypermarkets and the supermarkets, like Vishal Market, DMart, where the families are generally going for shopping. And there we are also saying that we will be doing some special offerings like buy one, get one free type of discounts and using festive offers. So the family that I'm talking about can be catered through the presence in the hypermarkets and supermarkets.
Okay. And how are you targeting? How are you planning to compete with the competitors like Patanjali and
If I guess correctly, you are asking how do we compete with our competitors like Patanjali?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah. So, Prashant, can you go to the slides we're talking about the competitors? What we are saying is we have to play on the purity of the product here. When I'm talking from the marketing perspective, so these products are there, Patanjali, Medimix, and Himalaya. They are there, but they don't say that they don't play on the purity, and I don't think it is their prerogative as well. Where we have a unique selling point of having a purity and then having a social cause attached to it.
Okay. But to contrary this, I mean, there are very few people, those who are going to buy a product who is whose cost is higher than the competitive product just on the basis of because you are doing social cost. There are very few people, those who donate in the terms of, otherwise you have to educate them that you are really doing this just because of social cause. You're not earning money. So I mean, price has to be the main factor where you pull your customers. Otherwise your competitors is in the win-win situation.
Yeah, just to add to Pranav's point, Anubhav, what we saw right now is that the products that the Neem project is creating is like at a higher end, like around 40 rupees per 75 grams of soap, which is closer to Himalaya's prices. However, the key thing to note over here is they use around 21% of neem oil in making their products. Whereas if we can reduce that to 5 to 10%, even like the best competitors mention around 5% rate, and also like add along with that we're going to put like the freshness of lime with it, that is going to reduce the costs for our product as well, while maintaining the purity of the neem oil that we are using in our products. Also, like I would like to mention, like at an immediate standpoint, before we establish like distribution networks, etc., our primary method to use that excess neem oil would be to establish ourselves as reliable raw material providers for other FMCG companies like ITC or HUL.
But the end user won't be able to, know the fact that you are the provider of the raw material. So how you're gonna educate? If you're gonna educate your end user, your client, that will drain so much of money from the marketing side.
Yeah, so the social marketing aspect of it, and also like using the online channels, we believe is going to take some time to establish. The D2C network and also the B2C networks are going to take some time to establish. The main thing over here is that the Neem project should be able to continue with the social impact that it is having, and the fact that they have like this excess high quality of neem oil remaining with them. So to be able to sell that excess high quality of neem oil and get revenue from it, that's the main target for us in the immediate term. So we are fine with becoming like a reliable or trustworthy raw material supplier as well, if that helps us to create additional revenue for our project and make it self-sustainable.
Get it. But you have to rely on the parent company infrastructure, which you said you are not going to use it. You have to be profitable. Otherwise, you have to use the infra. But all the best.
Thank you so much, team. Team Chrysalis, you're up next. I would request you to kindly start sharing. And thanks a lot, judges. And we understand that some of the presentations might have common feedback across them, but just to put it out there, team presentations were actually frozen before the finals to ensure that no team has any unfair advantage or disadvantage because of the order of the presentations, even if we are all learning from each other. So I'll leave the judges to rank and I'll leave the stage to Team Chrysalis.
Hi, good evening. We are Team Chrysalis. Today we are going to present the NEEM project as social business. So GLFC started in 1976, is a major producer of fertilizer like urea and nitrophosphates. In 2013 to 14, due to government mandate, they started producing neem coated urea, and as a byproduct, they started a new business line, that is neem FMCG product like neem soap and oil, neem hand wash, and shampoo. So the main aim of the new business line was to create a social impact, livelihood opportunities, and pharma benefits. And in business impact, we can see there are major competitors like Patanjali, Imami, Himalaya, Dabur, HUL. As of now, GNFC in the bottom right, as you can see, but they want to target to the higher market share and higher satisfaction rate. We will be discussing about the new strategies about that.
So we analyze the potential of neem product market by getting a bird's eye view, narrowing the market by categorizing. Now we did it based on application. First insecticides, pharmaceuticals, and then personal care and cosmetics, where we will be scoping our discussion. So global organic personal care markets amount to around 10 billion with around 6.2% growth rate. Now, main drivers of the industry are the growing consumer health consciousness and the shift in lifestyle that we have seen recently. Now, some of the biggest opportunities in the market are the fact that Government of India provides financial assistance and also the well-positioned benefits of neem oil. Some of the threats being the lack of awareness among people. Now, upon analyzing the biggest players in the market, we have listed down their respective strengths and weaknesses. Post this analysis, GNFC can be seen with 4 differentiating core competencies of their own. First, their strong R&D team. Second, their extensive distribution networks through government channels. Third, their leadership so visionary to bring about radical ideas. And fourth, their commitment to social responsibilities. Next. Now, upon foraying into FMCG sector, their advantages were that their superior quality neem oil in surplus. They were able to leverage their existing channels. Third, they were able to position their brand on the basis of quality. And fourth, they were able to create 450,000 plus livelihoods. However, they also face some disadvantages or these challenges, which we will be discussing in detail in the coming slides. Now, their initiative demonstrating social responsibility has been analyzed on the ESG framework, which indicates their long-term business perspective. Next slide. So GNFC has segmented their market on the basis of demography, geography, and psychography, where their targets are rural India, focused with urban and semi-urban markets of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, UP, and MP, focusing on lower and middle class families, which indulge in bulk buying. Now, with respect to age, the youth of the country has been targeted, who are mostly concerned about environment and society in large, who prefer products with organic ingredients. Now, we will be looking into challenges in detail.
When you try to understand what are the challenges currently GNFC is facing, the first is business scaling challenges. Due to intricacies in the process of neem coated urea, it is very difficult to create the same business ecosystem in different state again. And also, as there is very low margin, other companies may not be interested to replicate the same business model. lack of consumer awareness as being a niche target of natural cosmetics in India. And it is very important to create brand awareness to gain consumer trust and loyalty. Then fundraising challenges, as having unattractive margin, it may become difficult to raise funding from investors. Socio-political challenges, as GNFC is a homegrown business in Gujarat. So scaling up the business in different states may be difficult to be compliant with different labor laws, environment regulation, and other laws and regulations. Then in long-term challenges, we found that as people are moving from rural area to urban area for job searching, so in very future, it may be difficult to get enough labor in our business. Then as unavailability of sophisticated technology in agriculture business can be one of the issue in future to scale up the same. So on basis of impact and effort, we tried to do a feasibility analysis for the challenges, and we found that these are the primary target challenges GNFC can focus as of now, and these are the secondary which can be targeted in later.
Okay, so now we are going to discuss the operational and the financial strategy. So we have to keep in mind that the purpose of the social business should remain intact. So what we suggest is that complete separation of the NEEM project and GNFC. And next, the GNFC can focus around forming a joint venture, a JV with some other FMCG, which has a strong presence in the organic segment. However, it does not have any personal care NEEM product division. And in that way, the FMCG is going to help NEEM project with their promotion and marketing, which they are not able to do currently. The timeline of this JV is short term, 3 to 5 years. And what these FMCGs are going to gain out of this engagement, first of all, it is going to give them a CSR outlook and social responsibility to their existence. Secondly, they are going to get a share of the revenue for every product sold. Over here, I have represented how the revenue sharing will look like. And thirdly, it is a short-term joint venture of 3 to 5 years. So it is a risky adventure which they can easily take on, since NEEM project is a very new brand. And what NEEM project is going to get out of it, first of all, it is going to get brand association, which will lead to hiking sales. And secondly, enormous amount of shelf space from this FMCG association, and also presence at its stores and websites. And that way we can solve problems of sales, scaling up, cash flow, and so on. Next slide.
So we try to understand the marketing strategy. So the 3 very important marketing insights which we found out is, we need to convey the social impact as a point of difference. We need to leverage the Made in India tag to get attention from customers. And third, we need to collaborate with social media to reach to our targeted audience. So we need to involve in every step of marketing funnel to reach out to our audience through omni-channel presence, social media promotion, and collaborating with brand ambassador. We try to understand what is a sales channel. So we have 2 strategies for that. One is rural and another is urban one. In rural, we can collaborate with self-help group to hire a popularly known woman in our village as a salesperson. She can convey the social impact to villagers and sell the pre-purchased products or take a bulk order and collect the same order from the nearest GNFC store and do the last mile delivery to the villages. So it can help in reduced costs, also last mile delivery for the same products. And in urban, we can establish sales contact with DMart, Big Bazaar, and having a large shelf space in those large retail chain will obviously get attention and create consumer awareness.
Next, we are focusing on productivity enhancement strategy. We identified that in neem cultivation, there are 3 important problems. First of all, the land holdings are extremely small and unorganized. Secondly, there is a problem of sophistication in technology. Thirdly, the neem plant takes a lot of time, 5 to 7 years to reach its productive stage. So we are suggesting 3 strategies. First of all, land use strategy, where large amount of fallow land, which we identified in the states of Gujarat and Maharashtra, can be brought under neem cultivation. Secondly, plant growth strategy, where we can use technologies like cryogenics, which can store neem seeds up to 2 years. Then we can use a Malabar variant of neem, which is a very fast growing neem variant, grows within 2 years, and that can be distributed throughout the country. We also have technology solutions, like we can use genetic improvement, remote sensing, GIS, smart irrigation system to increase the productivity and yield. Also, we identified that in the countries of US and in Europe, there is a machine like an automatic fruit harvester, which collects fruits and seeds from very high growing trees. It has a tree shaker and movable umbrella for that, which we found very attractive for the Indian market. Next. So we prepared the strategy implementation roadmap for the next 10 years. First of all, for the next, immediately they have to look forward to the severance from GNFC and form a JV with the popular FMCG, and also look forward to their post-JV integration. For the next 6 to 12 months, what they can do is build consumer awareness and focus on building the sales channel and digital intervention that we discussed before. For the next 3 to 5 years of the JV, what they can do is enhancing the mechanization and efficiency of their productivity, build the distribution network, and also, if possible, they can expand their operation to other states within India like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. After the JV is over, what they can focus is post 3 to 5 years is extending their product line to other products like moisturizers, face pack, and so on. Post 10 years, their final goal should be getting a B Corp certification, and that way they would become much more viable, much more prominent for the international audience, and will be able to sustain the social business.
As you have proposed multiple strategies and also implementation roadmap, it is critical to define metrics that it can help them keep track of and measure the impact of various strategic interventions that we proposed. As it is difficult to propose the metrics for a social impact firm, we have looked at from two different perspectives.
Your 10 minutes are up. Please wrap it up in 20 seconds.
Sure. So we have developed two different types of metrics. One is a product metrics, which focus on the product life cycle, where we look from the number of recycle metrics, and also in the end, where we also look at the reduction in production and shipping emissions. And on the retail side of the metrics, we are looking at the metrics that are critical for every retail firm: customer lifetime value, growth rate across different distributions, and sell-through rate, product life cycle curve, and many more. With that, we will end the presentation and open for questions.
Yeah, thanks team for the presentation. I don't have too many questions, but I just have one maybe question, like what do you guys think, like what should GNFC? So first of all, I like the fact that you have also looked at the production side of it, meaning that how can you increase the neem productivity and everything. But if I were to ask you, what should GNFC choose in terms of, if the final aim for GNFC is to actually create, let's say, the social impact, would it not be a good idea that they drop the idea of being B2C? They just increase the productivity as much as they can for the neem seeds. That will also generate maybe a lot of income for the villagers in the rural area. They can do the same thing in other states as well. Stick to the supply side of it and don't enter into the forward selling side of it. Don't you think that could be a better idea? Or if you have any other suggestion?
So, sir, what I feel is that the business right now has been out of GNFC, out of its own requirement of neem seeds and so on. So, like, since if this business has to survive independently, maintain its social costs, and extend throughout the different states in India, we feel that this one method can be like, it can go ahead with this. Like, that is what we feel, and like, this is a short-term joint venture.
If I may just, when you say this business, I missed which business are you talking about? The neem product aspect of it, or the?
Yes, initially the GNFC business, where neem was only a byproduct business, which lies mainly in the CSR backyard of GNFC. We wanted to separate that from GNFC completely, because like,
I don't think, but maybe I'm missing something, but I think the GNFC wanted to actually use neem for the urea coating, right? So then, yes. Why?
What we suggest,
not exclusively a CSR initiative. Am I missing something?
Yes, but sir, however, I feel that this operation is very much restricted to the state of Gujarat, and operation and extension or scaling up was one of the major issues which it was facing. So we wanted that it to spread across India to different other states as well. But what we are also suggesting is that 30 to 40% of the total amount of neem production that it would be doing henceforth can be still given to GNFC or other fertilizer manufacturers as a input, because we also have that farmer benefit in mind. So we believe that if it exists independently as an entity, it can function much better and enhance its operation not only in India but also outside.
So Team Chrysalis, I have 3 observations for you. The first one is you might want to check your assumption as to whether an FMCG company would be prepared to accept just 3 rupees as their share of the rewards, given the price tag of the actual end product. You also seem to have interwoven a CSG storyline. So an FMCG company would want to do this because of the CSG implications. Not necessarily true, because all large corporations work in silos, and the brand people will want to see their numbers being met, and the CSR people will want to see their numbers, their targets being met. So you're making the assumption that FMCG companies or large corporations in general operate in a joined up manner. I can assure you they don't. So there are 2 entirely separate decision-making streams here. Second observation I have for you is, whilst I fully welcome the introduction of technology solutions, the caution I would offer you is, are we sure that we're not going to be displacing the very humans that we're trying to help? So if you're looking at cryogenically frozen seeds, that's wonderful. It doesn't displace anyone in a rural, manual labor type environment. But if you're going to bring in large fruit pickers, A, you've got the capital cost, B, you've got the cost of maintenance, C, the cost of diesel or whatever it is these things use. But most importantly, you're going to end up displacing the very people that you're seeking to help. It may be a very good long-term solution in order to increase profitability, but be careful about when you recommend its introduction in the life cycle of this project. The third point I have, your slides refer consistently to manpower, and one of the key objectives is women's empowerment. Now, I'm not asking you to be politically correct, but I am asking you to bear in mind that manpower in a women's empowerment type exercise indicates that we haven't quite grasped that words have meaning. So instead of manpower, perhaps you wanted to put in a labor force, workforce, or something similar. This is not petty political correctness. This is just a recognition that words have meaning. So I hope this guidance helps you, and thank you. Well done.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi. So I'm stay on this particular slide because my comment is here. What exactly are you going to give to your partner is something that I was not very clear about.
Okay, sir, over here I have mentioned that first of all, it is going to give them a CSR outlook and a social responsibility to
No, that part is okay. I'm saying physically what goes from you. You give the soap to the partner to sell?
No, it is a joint venture. We sell it in our name only. We just get their shelf space and they present us like a particular FMCG brand. They present the name. So
okay, so basically you are giving them, you are a contract manufacturer for them. Is that roughly what it turns out to be? Because you are not branding yourself.
No, we are branding. We are branding ourselves. We will remain the name project. It is only a short-term joint venture which we are trying to do of 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so what exactly happens in the sense that when you have a tie-up with, say, Adani Wilmar, then what happens?
So we for a single product, we give them a certain share of the revenue based on the negotiation that we enter into. And that will continue for only 3 to 5 years, during which they are going to also help us with our marketing and promotion. So that is a symbiotic relationship that we wanted to establish.
They help you with your marketing and promotion. Okay. Okay, but branding still stays with you.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay, that's one clarification that I wanted. Otherwise, I think I understood your presentation. So good.
A good presentation. Thank you. I don't have any questions.
Much. Team Saras, you're up next. Just a general reminder, we have 10 minutes for the presentation and 5 minutes for the Q&A. It would be great if our teams could remain cognizant of all of our times and try and adhere to those. Team Saras, you can go ahead and start sharing your screen.
Am I audible? Just checking.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Good evening to our honorable judges, respected competitors, and the audience that has joined us. We are Team Saras from IIT Delhi. To set the scene, we must look at GNFC's situation 6 years ago in 2017. The company's MD had the foresight to anticipate the directive for 100% of urea to be coated with neem oil. Looking at the cost of neem oil, he decided to produce it in-house. The process of collecting seeds for extraction, which was titled the Neem Project, had a significant social impact on the rural occupants of the Narmada Valley. On the business side, GNFC was producing a surplus of neem oil and decided to venture into the FMCG sector. However, we observe that GNFC is finding the highly competitive FMCG sector to be unsustainable and is trying to develop a more sustainable business model, which would continue to have a significant social impact. Considering this, we have proposed two potential solutions. Firstly, to discontinue FMCG manufacturing operations and focus on producing high quality neem oil and extract, which can be supplied to FMCG giants. And secondly, to produce biopesticides and biofertilizers from the excess neem oil and previously unused neem husk. We believe the second course of action would be more lucrative, especially considering that the products have a rapidly growing international market. Taking a deeper look into the business impact that GNFC has created, we first review the immense network that the company has drawn upon in order to procure their raw materials. Multiple forms of self-help groups and cooperative societies that were previously formed and many which formed during this course of the NEEM project. GNFC's foray into the FMCG sector has seen consistent double-digit growth, which has helped in covering some of the losses that resulted from the decrease in sales of urea post the directive of 100% neem oil coating. Furthermore, it has grown their potential customer base from just farmers to all retail consumers and commenced the transformation of GNFC into an organic giant, not just a chemical fertilizer company. GNFC has also brought about a major social impact in the Narmada Valley, where the NEEM project was implemented, affecting nearly 100,000 rural women and laborers in the first year itself. Most importantly, 18% of rural women affected by the project now own employable assets and 30% control savings that they previously did not. Overall, the income of impacted individuals grew by over 50%. However, maintaining and expanding the business that has brought about this impact sustainably is still a challenge for GNFC.
Thank you very much, Pranashu. While analyzing the foray into the FMCG sector in India, which is projected to $20 billion by 2025, there are advantages that we need to talk about. First, it's a diversification. While the fertilizer industry has a seasonal demand, the FMCG industry provides a stable and consistent cash flow to the company. Venturing into the FMCG sector, GNFC can reduce its dependency on the agricultural cycle. Second is the brand recognition and the customer base. GNFC has a strong customer base in the agricultural sector, which we can leverage to push our FMCG part and gain a competitive advantage. Along with it, it can tap into its existing network of relationship with the distributors to facilitate the product placement and gain a head start. Third is the optimal utilization. During off-season, the fertilizer production facilities tend to have excess capacity, which we can use to produce products from the raw material. That is here the extra neem oil. Producing products from that provides a more employment. But in case of GNFC, the disadvantages looms greater than the advantages. First is a lack of expertise and experience. Being very different from the fertilizer industry, FMCG has its own unique consumer behavior, cycle of product development, and importance of brand management, which GNFC definitely lacks as of now. Second is the intense competition. Pulling customers from the well-known FMCG brands that have established their loyalty is going to be very hard, especially without significant investment. Third is the brand perception. Statistical survey shows that 73% of consumers mostly rely on brands while shopping in the FMCG products. Now, all these disadvantages makes us to look for alternatives. For that, we have explored two options. Keeping our neem oil as a base, we explore upstream and downstream options, where yes, exploring upstream makes more sense at first because it will help us to sell the excess neem oil and recover our capex and achieve break even quicker. Along with that, we explore three options in downstream: cosmetic industry, a medicine industry, and the the pesticide industry. Entering into cosmetic industry is very problematic due to entry barriers like the scattered market and low unit price. In medicine industry, the intersection point in the value chain was missing, which is required to move forward. So we have chosen the pesticide industry as our second alternative, which is currently having INR 229 billion in 2022 and a CAGR of 6.6%. Now, coming to the business ecosystem, we have still now saw the solvent units. In the products, we have the neem coated urea, which is used to coat 100% of the urea production, followed with the FMCG products, which has good margin, but it will take huge efforts and cash to actually stand out in the competition. Now, the alternatives that we are suggesting to produce neem-based biopesticide, which has high margin and good export demand that is calculated based on the SHI and the RHI. Other one is the B2B business where we sell the excess neem oil to other FMCG companies as a raw material. Now, deep diving into the alternatives, we're trying to play on the strength of GNFC, that is high quality neem oil, and supply the excess of that to good margin to FMCG brands like the labs. In this, we increase the collection of neem seeds and also add on to neem leaves, ensuring higher employment. The drawback of it is that the NARD's effort to include women in the FMCG manufacturing will go down a bit, but they can actually add it to the efforts of collection. Second alternative strategy is to focus into the neem-based pesticide and the insecticide, which would grow their product portfolio while keeping their base corporate position same, is to help farmers around the country achieve better crop yields. It will increase the collection as well as the production efforts to generate employment, along with the utilization of husk, which we will use as a fertilizer additive to help the marginal farmers have one more farming option.
Thank you, Rishabh. We choose alternative strategy second, and there are three main reasons behind this. First is there is no requirement for a new distribution channel. GNFC can leverage its existing international fertilizer partner for biopesticides. Second is the trust that people have for fertilizer quality will get same for biopesticide because of similar segment of products for crop growth and protection. Third is the high margin and expertise of the GNFC in this segment. The pesticide market size is tremendously growing, and it is expected to reach 28.25 billion till 2027 from 21 billion in 2023. Further breakdown shows that biopesticide has a huge rapid growth and expected to double the market size till 2025 from 2.2 billion in 2022. The reason is the transition of organic farming from traditional one in many countries with a CAGR of 11.3% globally. And mostly it is seen in Western countries like France, USA, Nordic countries. The analyzed table data of ITC trade map shows the exported value of pesticide to different countries from India with a significant growth year on year. We choose 5 potential destinations for export. These are Japan, Brazil, Argentina, USA, Australia. Despite of crop production capacity they have, the majority of population are moving towards organic farming. We analyzed the country based on severity of India bilateral trades such as tariff and non-tariff barrier and competition in the foreign country of GNFC insecticide. For example, Japan-India CEPA deal, India-Mercosur PTA will give a competitive advantage to the GNFC biopesticide in this country. So coming on to the demonstrating social responsibility of GNFC. The GNFC has helped the bottom line participants a lot. They bought neem seed at the rate of 6 to 7 rupees per kg, which is 3-fold extra that the other private company pay. We got a case from GNFC website how Lakshmi Ben Dabi increased her annual income by 50% from 36,000 to 50,000. And there are around more than 2 lakh such stories of happiness and prosperity.
Thank you, Nishant. Here, I would like to focus on a dimension of social impact that GNFC has touched upon, but not fully engaged with, environmental impact. During the cold pressing technique that GNFC uses to produce neem oil, 93.7% of the weight, which is formed of the seed husk, is left behind in the form of neem cake. The case study has not mentioned any usage of this neem cake, which has multiple potential usage. We believe that the use of the neem cake as a fertilizer will enable farmers to gain 1 crop cycle per year, potentially boosting their incomes by up to 63% on top of the existing 50% increase that the neem project has already brought about. Lastly, we can expand collection efforts to neem leaves as well. The neem tree sheds each year, and the leaves can be used to produce neem extract. This will add to the potential business and social impact created by GNFC.
Thank you, Nancy. As collected through primary data input resources for the NEEM project, we analyze impact generation for the 3 years. The parameters judge both the company profitability and the socio-economic impact. In the 3 consecutive years, the neem oil production has grown with 128%, but the income generation has gone to 160%, despite of the fact that
Team
input
Saras, your
human-
10 minutes are up, so please wrap it up in 20 seconds.
Okay, sure. Despite of the fact that the human resource generation has increased to 2 lakh from 1 lakh in just 3 years, even though the increased percentage in income of the employee is more than the increase in company profit, still the company is happy as they could make a greater social impact. Thank you for listening. We are now open for the questions.
Thanks, Team Saras, for the presentation. No particular question in my mind, but I like the fact that you are exploring the opportunities right in their core business that they are best at right now, utilizing the same neem, other byproducts of the neem to figure out the pesticide options and otherwise. Maybe if you want to comment one thing on, I'd be happy to know about it. As far as like your solution strategy, one case fact that is mentioned in the case is that around 80% of the procurement cost is paid to the SPPs. And you somewhere mentioned that actually women can actually also buy with the extra income generated more land and the sewing machines. But if you observe the increase in the income, that in terms of percentage, it might seem quite high, but in terms of absolute value of the income that they have increased in is, I don't think, to an extent that they can actually really start buying land and actually utilizing those. So would you, I mean, do you have a solution for that? So let's say if I put my comment that I think that the social impact that they are having is good, but maybe you are taking a bit of liberty when you say that they can actually, with that kind of increase, can buy land and buying sewing machines and increase. So do you have any other solution to that?
I can take this up. Actually, if you look at the absolute value, it's a small base from which to grow upon. Their annual income is 12,000 rupees as reported, and we have increased that by 7,000 through the collection efforts. So as a percentage increase, that's definitely a lot, but in terms of amount, it might be not that much. But still, over the course of the 2-3 years that the project has been active, women have been they've purchased not land, but like cattle, employable assets that they can continue to build upon their incomes with, basically.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
So Team Saras, on the plus side, your executive summary right up front was very helpful because it gave me an overview as to what exactly you were going to tell me before you drill down into the details. Now, in terms of the actual delivery, as we can all see, Mukta is doing an excellent job of keeping everyone down to 10 minutes. So you should have taken your cue from that and decided which of your slides is actually more relevant and important than others, and therefore try to complete your messaging within the time allocated. I would also point out that for most of your presentation, the bottom 10% of your slides were cut off, but they auto-corrected towards the end. And last but not least, if you ever have a column that says percentage change, it really helps to specify between where and where, because the 3 columns preceding that was, I think, if I recall correctly, 15, 16, 17, and then you say percentage change. I have no idea between what and what. So anytime you quote percentages, you do have to specify the parameters. Once again, all of this attention to detail is not just minutiae or nitpicking. It makes the difference between people determining that you are completely professional, understanding that you have attention to detail, and recognizing that you have thought through potential questions that could be asked by preventing them from being asked in the first place, by labeling everything correctly. So once again, excellent stuff. And that's my contribution in your case.
Well said. Thank you so much. We'll keep that in mind.
So Team Saras, can you just go back one slide and can impact slide. Yeah, so I mean, I'm assuming that since this is a real company that is happening, I mean, you would have done your own research. So why is it that, why do you think the impact numbers are not available after 2017?
Sir, we took this data from the UNDP report. UNDP did a primary research.
No, I understand
over
that.
the 3
But
years.
that is given in the case also. But I think when you go to the website of the company, etc.,
Yes, sir.
why do you think the numbers are not available beyond this? So this
Sir,
is
few
one
of the
company which is very publicity oriented, right? You would have seen the kind of publicity they do.
Yes, sir, kind
What
of.
is happening on the impact front?
Sir, impact generation they have made in a significant way, and many data are available there. Like total seed collected till 2027, 2017 was 22,000 metric ton, but now they are around 60,000 metric ton. So I was having the seed collected amount, but the total income generation and number of women, rural women that they have been onboarded in the bottom line. A few of the data was missing after the 2018 and 19. So we took 3 years impact generation to be concise and to take on the case.
Yeah, good. No, I just want you guys to think about it a little bit. The other one I wanted to know is that you said that they can, what do we do with the neem oil? I think you said that upstream process, let them not sell the products, but sell neem oil. So this alternate one, what do they do with the neem oil?
So essentially, sir, they would be supplying to FMCG rather than competing in a business where they're sort of floundering right now. Because FMCG is a
So
very
you
cutthroat
supply the
industry.
neem oil to other FMCG companies.
Right.
Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, that is essentially what we're suggesting.
Good. No, that's what I just want to clarify. Okay, yeah, good. I don't have any other question.
All right. Thank you so much, judges. Thanks a lot, Team Saras. We'll have Team DVSP going up next, and you can go ahead and share your screens while the judges are noting down their remarks.
Hello, is the screen visible? Great. So we are Team Dynamic Vanguard Shadow Protectors from IIM Lucknow. Right. So starting with a brief introduction of the case, GNFC is one of the largest chemicals and fertilizers companies in India. And through their neem procurement initiative, they have generated a lot of social and business impact in the past, where they've not only given or provided higher incomes to the individual seed collectors, but they've also generated a lot of employment across rural India. Now, as a byproduct of this, they also started producing neem soap and neem oil. That is, they started foraying into the FMCG sector through the excess neem oil that they were extracting. And in the entire process, they therefore were generating a lot of business and social impact. Moving on, we will be, I'll just cover the key questions that we will be answering throughout this case presentation. One, we will be trying to assess what are the kind of social and business impact that GNFC was able to bring through. We will also be trying to assess the challenges that can come in the future while sustaining this impact. Now that GNFC has forayed into the FMCG sector, we will also try to evaluate how that has worked out for them and certain alternative strategies on how they will be able to realize more value from the excess neem oil that they're generating. Now, in order to assess the business and social impact, we will be doing that through a neem framework that we've come up with. So we talk about the narrative. That is, we will be developing a captivating narrative, which will also include the business and social impact goals of GNFC. Second is engagement of stakeholders. We will try to identify who are the key stakeholders, how are they contributing to and getting affected, and how are they getting affected by this neem initiative. Next, we will be evaluating the metrics that will be determining the key performance indicators that will help us measure the progress towards these goals that we had identified, right? Last but not the least is measuring the ROI, which means that we will be quantifying the entire process. We will try to identify where do we stand across both the arms, that is business and social, and we'll try to find an ROI to understand where do we stand as GNFC. Over to Prakhar.
Thank you, Sanskriti. So now the company is into FMCG diversification, which sort of fuels innovation and other propelling GNFC into other possibilities, right? So we have evaluated basis the competitive advantages that the company has, basis the different resources and capabilities. So we have identified 4 major capabilities and resources. One is, of course, their material sourcing efficiency. The second is their rural entrepreneurship, in which they provide livelihood and work to the women, village workers. The third is, of course, their sales and distribution network, and the fourth is, of course, their combination of business impact with environmental sustainability, right? So, basis the evaluation of the WRIN framework, we have identified that the material sourcing efficiency provides the company with an average above average returns, whereas the other 3 are provide an average return basis the competitive parity, right? The second is we have also identified the win-win scenario their existing business model creates for all the stakeholders involved in it. The stakeholders, of course, are their customers, the suppliers, the company itself, and of course the village workers, right? So all the 4 stakeholders are getting some benefit out of their existing business plan. Next slide. So now we would actually evaluate the whether their diversification strategy has yielded an increase in revenues and, of course, had some notional cost savings as well. So we have identified 2 major scenarios. First is, of course, if they had continued the sourcing of external sourcing, and the second is when they in-house manufacturing. So basis the calculation of the cases, we have identified that the notional cost savings is about cumulative 134 million INR in the period of 2015 to 2017-18, which was the period of the case. So we have taken those 3 periods and calculated the notional cost savings, right? And this comes out to be, this is a quantitative number. The second is, of course, with the launch of the FMCG business, there's a transition from a B2B oriented company to a B2C company, and also provide an incremental 10% revenue to the overall top line. Next slide.
So hi everyone. So now we'll be looking at what the social impact that has been created by GNFC through its NEEM sourcing initiative, and also we'll try to use some frameworks that we developed to quantify the number. So if I look at the facts that have been given, so there has been a 36.8% increase in the average income of daily workers, and also some of these daily wage earners have transformed into rural entrepreneurs. Apart from that, one of the major key factors is that when we provide money in the hands of women, their decision making increases, right? So this is one of the biggest social impact that has been created. All these social impacts given below, we have given 4 major sustainable development goals that are being fulfilled by this initiative. On my right hand side, you can see this number, social ROI, that is 86%. So this social ROI we have calculated based on how much revenue increase has been done by the company, divided by what is the total capex and the operational cost that is to run the oil processing units and the FMCG units. So this number comes out to be 86%. So this is a very decent figure that 86% social ROI is being generated for 100 rupees that they are putting into the business. The company is itself getting some revenue through its FMCG arm, and also 86 rupees is generated for these rural entrepreneurs. And if we identify key stakeholders, apart from the rural folks that have seen an increase in wages, we can see that it benefits farmers as well, since the neem coated urea will improve the soil health, increase cost productivity and savings. Finally, the major benefactors to this are rural women, right? So it has enabled asset creation for them, as we have seen in the case. There have been instances of reduction in domestic violence and additional income, and this is a very good case of additional income for these women. And if I look at some of the challenges that the company might face, is first of all, it is long-term financial sustainability for the entire initiative. And there is also complexity in measuring the impact. However, we have come up with a framework that will enable the company to reduce this complexity and get a quantitative figure. Finally, one of the major issues is scalability in different states and lack of employee expertise. Now, moving on to the next slide, we'll look these issues into detail and the solution we have provided. So on my left-hand side, you can see the social progress indicator, right? So this indicator starts with defining key matrices that we are going to include. So this will be, we have seen one aspect, that is the revenue generation that we have given to social ROI. The second aspect, which is the intangible benefits, that is something which will be using this social progress indicator. The end goal for this would be to have one single indicator, and all the important matrices have been scaled and statistically analyzed, and by assigning different weights to each other. And finally, we'll be calculating a social progress indicator score. So this score can be used to measure the social impact. On my right-hand side, you can see that there is a strategy to communicate the social impact. And one of the major issues the company might face in the future is the resistance from internal employees, right? So we need to have a sort of startup culture to improve the scenario, and it would enable company to foray into different states, which is important for long-term sustainability.
So in the interest of time, we can move on to the alternate strategy. Yeah.
So we want to focus here on maximizing the business impact. Here, one of the focus would be on growth and sustainability. That is the shift. We want to focus on production or neem-based personal care products. That is shift in lifestyle, as well as growing demand for personal care products is actually driving the force of the cosmetic industry and the personal care products. So here we have focused on that we want to actually move into a new product line, and that we can do by leveraging the distribution channels, marketing strategy, and branding. And we have already seen that how these major FMCG companies have neem-based products, and they're foraying into branding and marketing since it resonates with women. Next slide. So what we have done here is we have actually looked into the strength, weaknesses, and opportunity threats of GNFC. Also looked into the ANSOX matrix, wherein we have proposed an alternate strategy. Next slide. Yeah, so our alternate strategy is nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals. So why nutraceuticals, you ask? Nutraceuticals because the market itself is growing. In a decade, the projections have almost doubled, and the growth drivers are because the consumer is has a health consciousness, and they have shift to healthy alternatives. And the neem oil or concentrates already has shown multiple benefits like regulating the blood sugar, blood pressure.
Hi team, your 10 minutes are up. Please wrap it up in 20 seconds.
Sure. So we are proposing the dietary supplements, direct neem oil based product, that is the soft gelatin capsules. Apart from that, the pharmaceutical, here quercetin, beta sterol, such are some of the important constituents that we can actually get it out from these. And that's where we are actually focusing on nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals. So next slide. Yeah. So that's all from our side. Thank you.
Thank you, team. We'll go ahead with the Q&A.
Thanks, team, for the presentation. I just wanted to understand one thing. The nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals is what you are proposing as opposed to the FMCG products. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so could you tell me, so as I see it, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, is that as I see it in either of those cases, either I enter into an FMCG or a pharmaceutical based product line, I don't have an expertise, and that's what maybe the other employees of the organization have been mentioning to the boss up there, that we are not into business of these things, right? And so what makes it so different in the nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals that you think that it is better than FMCG? You could be just briefly mention that. What is?
Sure, sure, sir. The nutraceuticals, because as I mentioned, these are direct neem-based products. It's just packaging of the neem oil in a different package. The package would be a soft gelatin capsule. They just need to have a machinery for that, and the filling and the entire thing, because they have a pure neem oil, so that can directly get into nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals. Because
right, if I may, that's where I think you might need to think a bit more, because you're still going to have that same brand issue. You're still going to have them same supply chain and logistics incapability to provide these to the end consumer, and all of those challenges will still be there. And you for all that, you could actually basically contract manufacture your soap products as well. So you don't need to even do that on your own. So you might need to think on that, but fair enough, not an issue. So just one more point I had. Can you go to the social ROI slide where you calculated that? Yes. So see, I think it's a misleading number. Maybe I'm not wrong here, but I think it might not be a correct picture of the social ROI, because you are assuming this revenue generated of 161 million as an aggregate number, but there are villagers first, then there are VLCCs, and then there are SPPs, wherein SPP are the ones who are getting 80% of that, right? So when you say that 86.8% is the social ROI, wouldn't you rather consider, and by the way, SPP being a private entity, so it's a profit making and it's mentioned in the case. So for all that, this number is too exaggerated as far as if you really want to calculate the social ROI only for the villagers. So, that breakup, if you would have shown that, that would have been really great for deeper understanding of what is the actual social ROI that is happening. Just a comment to be made there. All right. Thanks.
Nothing further to add from my side. Everything that I've said to previous participants applies here as well. But thank you very much for the presentation.
This is Saurabh. Can I?
Sorry. Yeah. So I just took some time to unmute myself. No, I think both my questions that I had actually has been asked by Professor Verma. So I also don't have anything additional. Since you are on this slide, I had a little bit of a confusion with that one figure that you have given at the bottom saying total investment by company INR 185.425. What exactly does it mean?
Over here, what we are doing is that we have taken the capex that was used, because without the capex, the neem seeds, they are valueless for the company, right? For these farmers, right? So this is the capex figures, plus we have taken an assumption for the operational costs. 50 to
so that is 181 million.
Yeah, the entire investment that the company has been doing, initial capex plus
on the other row, total investment by the company INR 185. What is that?
That is the total investment in millions. INR 185 millions. That is the total cost company has invested into setting up the manufacturing plants and running these manufacturing plants to produce.
So there is a million unit that is missing there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's a million. It's a million. Yeah, sorry for that.
Okay, and what is the difference between that and that 181 million that you have given it just before that?
So this 181 million is total capex, initial investment done, and the raw material cost we have included in it. And apart from that, when we add the operational cost, it becomes 185 million.
Also, 4 million is coming from operational cost.
Yeah.
Okay, but you are aware that the company is having a lot of internal cross subsidies, right?
Yes, exactly, and also there would be.
So that again builds on Professor Nishant's point that the SROI figure that you have calculated is actually quite inflated.
We understand that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot. But otherwise, some good detailed work that has come out. So interesting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, team DVSP. Just to let everyone know, I think we were a little optimistic when we thought we'll wrap it up by 10 p.m. We really apologize for that, and we hope that the participants and the judges can actually bear with us and continue to stay. We just have 2 more texts to go through, and I'm sure everyone is really enthusiastic to present. Up next, we have Team Blue Ocean who's going. So it'll be great if you can go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, just a second. I will share the presentation. Sanjay, you want to go ahead?
Sure, Shashank. Good evening, judges and other teams. Our team Blue Ocean Strategy would be presenting the sustainable growth strategy for GNFC and how we can emulate it for other firms. As part of the case study, we looked at the Indian fertilizer market through extensive literature survey, discussed key challenges with our mentor, corroborated the same using testimonials and newspaper articles, evaluated the effectiveness of the strategy using various frameworks, and came up with innovative strategies to replicate the same across industries. Next. Now looking at GNFC and the Indian fertilizer market in general, the Indian fertilizer market is an $850 billion industry, partially fragmented with no sustained dominant advantage owing to the commoditized nature of the product. The industry is expected to grow at 4.68% for the next decade. Coming to GNFC, GNFC is a PSU and is a major player in the industry with 6% market share in sales. In India, it's the largest nitric acid producer and the sole supplier of many key chemicals and active ingredients. Its core philosophy is to be a technological-driven, environmentally responsible company maintaining the highest standards of operational excellence and innovations while creating value for the stakeholders. Next, please. The NEEM project is the brainchild of Dr. Rajiv Kumar after the PMO mandated the 100% NEEM coating of the urea fertilizer to reduce wilfrage. Under this project, GNFC backward integrated into the supply chain and gave its volunteers 3 times more money than what the competitors offered. This process has not only made immense business sense for GNFC, but also created great ESG impacts, a few of which are highlighted here. Next, please. Now let's look at the highlights in the terms of social and business sense. The main beneficiary of the NEEM project was the turning of laborers into self-entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs. It allowed them to supplement their family income by 58%, which is roughly 7,000 rupees annually. This not only allowed them to gain say in domestic matters, but also reduce the chances of domestic violence. The initiative also helped improve the sustainability of the farmland and reduce the fertilizer consumption by 15% due to the slow leaching of urea into the soil. This led to an additional income to the tune of 500 million for the state and 1 billion reduction in the central import bill for urea. Moving on to the business impact, the firm took advantage of more than 20,000 retail stores that not only sell NEEM-coated fertilizer, but also NEEM-based FMCG products such as soaps and shampoos, which sold like hotcake due to the firm's image of purity and quality. This has significantly strengthened the supply chain and gained extreme goodwill among the upstream value customers. Now, Shashank would take you through the challenges faced by the firms in their sustainability social initiative.
Let's take a look at what are the challenges that were faced by any such social initiatives. So the very first is visionary leadership. That is the top officer, which is generally IAS officer in such PSUs, they may get transferred. And as you know, Dr. Rajiv Gupta was the mind behind this particular project. Scaling up operations in different states is also a challenge. Diversifying into different lines of business, as FMCG sector is quite competitive and it requires brand recognition as well. Although right now this project is financially sustainable, but in the longer term it may not be sustainable because customer preferences are changing. Stakeholder collaboration, getting a buy-in from government and SHGs and different stakeholders is also difficult. Now, before moving to what are the strategies available to, alternative strategies that are available to GNFC, let's take a resource-based view of GNFC. So what are the what is the key core competence of GNFC? So for that, we did a video analysis. We found out that joint venture support from SHGs, villagers, and brand recognition in fertilizer and chemical manufacturing were the ones which gave it a sustained competitive advantage. And it is the core competence lies in manufacturing of chemicals and fertilizers, efficient operation, and high capacity utilization. So we tried to find out whether this made sense for GNFC to go into FMCG. Since it is an attractive industry as per the Porter 5 Forces analysis, it made sense. Because it diversified the revenue streams, they got strong hold in rural areas. It made synergy with GNFC social initiatives, and they could forward integrate, thereby reducing supply chain risk. However, this is not a good idea to foray into FMCG because that is not their core competence. It is also difficult to scale this initiative to different states, and establishing brand awareness is quite capital intensive. Now let us look at what are the strategies available to GNFC. Very first is foray into herbal or Ayurvedic product space. and manufacture neem-based medicines. So we'll try to measure what are the impacts of it. So the potential business impact is that it will increase the top line for GNFC. The market is quite attractive because $72 billion market is the Ayurvedic market size, and India is the largest Ayurvedic and herbal market in the world. The CAGR is quite attractive, 12%. Potential social impact that we could come up with is 0.2 billion people will be positively impacted. There is a potential women empowerment, and 10,000 plus jobs will be created in the long run. However, the challenge is the brand building and competition from existing players such as Patanjali, Medimix, and others. It is also quite capital intensive. The second strategy that we are suggesting is becoming a private label manufacturer and sell neem-based products to Ayurvedic or FMCG giants who will sell your products for the downstream. So we'll get access to around 50 plus FMCG company channels, will increase our market penetration and huge profits. It will decrease expenditure. The potential social impact is that the cost that we will save, we can fund our CSR activities due to that, and we will generate 2,000 plus jobs. However, there is a risk of disintermediation by FMCG companies as well. Now, third is venturing into pesticide and insecticide using excess neem oil. And fourth is licensing these products to FMCG companies and becoming a supplier of neem oil to them. In each of the case, the potential social impact is not that great. Also, there is a potential that some of the stakeholders such as villages may lose jobs. So how do we come up with a ideal strategy? So what we did, we measured the social impact by the number of jobs created and the business impact by the profitability or top line increase. So we found out that venturing into Ayurvedic or herbal space and private label manufacturing, these are the potential strategies that we can target. Using another framework, in which we are looking at cost intensity and synergies between operations, we try to find out which is the low cost alternative and high synergy with our existing operations. We found that the private label manufacturing is the way to go ahead. However, there are some risks which we are mitigating by so the risk of disintermediation, we are mitigating it by securing long-term agreements, increasing the SKUs, private added support, protecting the product by getting a trademark and setting industry standards. Now, Rishi will take
So now that we have discussed the alternative strategies that GNFC had, we looked at the Ayurvedic market in general, how it's growing at a 16% CAGR, especially the neem extract market, which is growing at an 11% CAGR, due to the growing demand for these products, especially consumer becoming more accepting for these products. And obviously, the neem project in itself has been a success for GNFC with just an investment of only 40 plus crore and revenue gains of 100 plus crore through this project. So we'll move on and look at one of the interesting key takeaways from the project. That was how can a company measure the social and how can a company measure the social impact of any project. So we came up with a 8-step framework where we first define the project, we identify the key stakeholders such as employees, customers, local communities. We conduct a baseline assessment, and post that we define the impact indicators and establish performance matrices, which are defined on the right hand side depending on the type of project. So for a project like NEEM project, which is a community development project, we can measure the social impact in terms of the employment generated or improvement in access to basic amenities. Or for a project which is an educational project in nature, we can measure these impacts in terms of increase in literacy rate or improvement in school enrollment ratios. Once we have collected these data, it's important to analyze them and report them back to the key stakeholders to initiate a feedback loop. Finally, we looked at what can be some of the replication strategies so that other companies can also replicate the success of NEEM project and follow the pathway of GNFC. And the key factors that affect the social impact of any project were mission, vision, objective, and culture of a company. There are other factors such as financial impact, government support, company morale, but the most important are the top 4, especially the culture that the company has, because that's what drives the social projects for a long term. We came up with a framework for an ideal project, and we saw that majorly there are 4 types of projects: a day-to-day project, which drives your top lines and builds brand value; a marketing of CSR activities, which builds your brand value as well as creates social impact; and a project like NEEM project, which drives the top line.
10 minutes are up. Please wrap it up in 20 seconds.
Sure. Drives the top line as well as creates social impact. But an ideal project would be one which drives the top line, builds brand value, as well as creates social impact. And that's what any project should eye for. With that, we also looked at some of the replication strategies and possible risks associated with such a project. And that was these were our major key takeaways from the entire case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, team. We'll move on to the questions.
Yeah, thanks, team, for the presentation. A quick comments. Maybe I'll just give you the comments a bit later. But can you just tell us how did you calculate the number of jobs created, the potential jobs that can be created in the 4 alternatives that you suggested?
Yeah.
So let's say you can take, you can give one of these and give us an idea, like how are you calculating the number of jobs getting created?
So these jobs are estimated by taking a look at what are the number of jobs created by existing initiatives. For example, in one of the scenarios that they have in Gujarat, the number of VLCCs, number of the number of SPPs, each one of them, number of SHGs that they have contracted, each one of them have around 8 to 10. And based on that, we extrapolated those numbers to SPPs and then later on to the downstream distribution channels. And we took some discounted value of each one of them. And we estimated around there could be 10,000 jobs in total in the long run.
So I'm still unclear though, but I mean, maybe next time when you present, you should be a bit more clear in terms of these numbers. So like, I'll give you one example. In your option 1 and 2, it's 10K and 2K. When you're becoming a private label manufacturer, why do you think such a huge difference would be there in these two? Because even if you make a product, the distribution aspect of it is not going to, like, how do you, like, are you basically saying that additional 8K jobs that are there is because of the fact that you would be then also creating jobs in the distribution aspect of it?
Yeah, so in the very first one, what we are expecting is when we foray into herbal or Ayurvedic product manufacturing, we are starting from scratch, and then we were building our own distribution network, complete distribution network. That is why the number of jobs created are high.
Yeah, so
However,
that's the breakup that you need to show. Maybe just for the better clarity, next time you could just use those numbers in a very quick clarification. So another just one small comment that I had. Can you go to the next slide? I think next slide. Yeah, over here, when you see cost might not be a best way to judge whether you want to be a private label manufacturer, right? So let's say the higher you are in the upstream of a supply chain, your cost number would always be lesser because the value getting added as you move more downstream is going to be higher. I think for that, obviously, when you're a private label manufacturer, you're just supplying it. You're not taking care of the marketing, you're not taking care of the distribution. None of that is your job. So cost is obviously going to be lesser. It's not a relative measure to compare. Rather, margin could have been a better way to look at it. Just a comment. I mean, in future, I mean, cost might not be a good comparative measure to judge the strategy. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. Just that's the one. Thank you.
So Blue Ocean, just 3 comments from me. First is all of you chose to have a uniform backdrop that indicates a degree of attention to detail and wishing to make a good professional impression. I'm referring, of course, to your background there with the Vista GSR challenge. So, although your slides are busy, the introduction of arrows allows the eye to be dragged along the direction of travel that you want to engage, which means it was easier for me to follow your verbal versus your visual presentation because of the inclusion of the arrows in a lot of your slideware. The only observation I have is if you're using a publicly known framework, there's no need to copy it. It takes up valuable real estate space on your slideware. But if it's your own original framework, yes, of course, you do need to explain it. So those are my observations. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So very quickly, I'm observing that many of your slides are getting sliced off at the bottom. And this is something that Chris also observed some time back. So I guess it is something to do with the Zoom settings. So I request the organizers to just have a check on that, because we are not noticing for many of the slides, the bottom portion is not visible and some important data might be just there. So that's a generic comment, nothing to be taken against the team. So Blue Ocean, just staying on this slide, can you just tell me why selling oil is not attractive? I mean, just from an intuitive perspective, just sell the oil to the FMCG companies. Don't get into any manufacturing. Why is that not attractive for this company in your analysis?
Yeah, so when we tried to find out how other neem-based product companies such as Medimix and other, they are creating their own neem products. So what they do is they are creating those soaps and all from neem extracts, not from neem oil. So what their processes are designed in that way, so as they are using neem, they are made up, they are based on neem extracts and not neem oil. So when we will try to sell neem oil to them, they may have to change their whole processes. That will be difficult to them. Secondly, if we sell the neem oil to them, it may happen that there is a risk of disintermediation, because somebody else may sell them neem oil at a lower price, right? So these are the two reasons that.
But I thought their advantage, GNFC's advantage, is the purity level. So will that be easily replicated?
Well, no, that cannot be replicated. I agree with you that their purity and quality is the best. However, we think becoming a private label manufacturer is better, because that will drive more revenue. And when we are selling neem oil to them now, it may happen that they will say, okay, we only require, let's say, 10 liters of oil and not more than that. So what we will do with the excess oil? We'll have to use it somewhere. So instead of doing that, we can create a long-term contract with our FMCG FMCG companies, and we'll directly sell our product to them. That would be a better approach.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure.
As our final team for today, we have a team with a very deeply nostalgic name, Team Powerpuffs. I would request you to kindly go ahead and share your screen and present.
Radhika. Yeah, Mansi, would it be possible for you to share that, and for some reason? Sure. Just give me a second. Sorry, just getting my screen there. Sorry, judges, we had the presentation handy, but my Zoom is not allowing me to share for some reason.
Can go in next.
Just a second. Just trying to make it full screen. Yes. Okay, good evening, judges. We're super thrilled to be presenting at the Global Social Responsibility Challenge. I am Radhika and my partner Mansi. We are both from NYU Stern School of Business, and we will be beginning into the presentation. So if you could go on to the next slide. Thanks, Mansi. So today we'll broadly be covering these 6 headlines, which are just 10 slides.
Radhika, I think your screen is stuck. Hello?
Yeah, so we'll be going through these
6 slides, which is the impact, then exploring the FMCG, then the approach that we have asked for, like recommended, and then the explanation plan, and then revenue model, and then the social responsibility.
I'm so sorry, I got disconnected. Yeah, I can take on from here. So you can go to the next slide. We can start with introducing the case study. So GNFC is a fertilizer company in India that has a core objective of social upliftment. The company has been successful in achieving this objective through its GNFC NEEM project, which was initially an experimental pilot project that has received recognition, accolades, as well as has multiple social and business impacts. However, the company now faces the challenges of scaling up this ambitious and promising initiative without compromising its core objective of inclusivity and sustainability, and which is why GNFC wants to foray into the FMCG sector. So if you could move on to the next slide. We would like to explore the FMCG sector and talk about the different pros and cons here. While it seems like an attractive market because the Indian FMCG is at a CAGR of 27.9%, also GNFC's whole expertise is not only in neem oil production, but also the quality control, which delivers high quality products. That being said, the con is that the market is highly saturated and kind of competitive. We have, as you can see, the market share by revenue on our right, we have a high entry cost. And this could be in terms of marketing, in terms of packaging, etc. Another issue could be that the consumers are not aware of the benefits of neem oil, let's say compared to a coconut oil. And even the strong odor might be unappealing to some of them. We do want to make sure to leverage these advantages wisely for a greater social impact. So we basically thought, what are the 2 best strategies that we could come up with if we want to foray into the FMCG space? And here are 2 alternate approaches we've listed. One is a more, I would say, B2C kind of strategy where we still keep focus of our social initiative, but we split into 2 business units, and the next one focuses more into the GNFC sector. This also helps us to hire the right resources in terms of talent and keep that separated so both teams can function with their dedicated resources. The second approach could be, why not look at that market share and tie up with those strategic partners that are already experts in that industry? We could not only leverage their expertise, but also leverage, let's say the retail outlets they have or the customer loyalty they have. We can also get access to new markets to them, which is why we will pick strategy 2. And Nancy will go on to talk about other reasons why we picked strategy 2 over 1.
All right. Thanks, Radhika. So when we look into the rationale behind choosing strategy 2 is we look through the lens of Porter's share value model. First, the business opportunity. If you see neem oil as the market share of neem oil is $1.82 billion and growing at a CAGR of 16%. So we can actually start establishing our brand image in neem oil and then venture into different sectors as well, which is food, beverages, pharmaceuticals, and home care as well. These are the business opportunity within neem oil. Then going into the company assets and enterprise, we can actually focus on operational innovation and quality control, which is our competitive edge. And keeping that focus, and we are making those partnerships with different companies, we can actually trickle that down into social impact. How? I'll tell you in 2 folds. First, we are going to increase production of neem oil by going into different states and giving income sources to villagers and women within those villages. Then second fold would be that we start doing partnership as a consultancy as well. We help companies who are making neem oil, how they can actually leverage local villagers to collect neem seeds and educate them the process of collecting it and drying it out, because these 2 are very important process within extracting neem oil. If it is not dried properly, the quality of the neem oil can drop as well. So these are the three ways we can actually look into strategic partnership. Then going into the future expansion plan, I want to talk about the revenue growth and then sequential geographic expansion for the market penetration. When we talk about revenue growth, we create our branding by tying up with these B2B companies, and then establishing that distribution channel, and then learning about the regulatory compliances which is required to sector in go into the different sectors as well, like pharmaceutical, and so that we can actually leverage our neem oil in different ways. Then talking about the sequential geographic expansion for the market penetration, first we focus in India, establish ourselves properly within India, then venture into Asia. As we have seen that 45% of the neem oil consumption comes from Asia, then and the distribution channel for us will be easier because we are at the heart of the Asia as well. Then we'll go to Africa, in which we will leverage our consultancy firm and help local rural communities how to collect those seeds and take out that neem oil for them. Then we'll go lastly, we are asking them to go into US because it is a very competitive market. By the time we enter US, we would have established that brand within India, Asia, and Africa. People would be knowing us, and then we can go to US and sell our product there, neem oil product. Now, let me go take you through a revenue model which we have come up with, how much profit they would be generating. On the left-hand side, we talk about the cost. Then on the right-hand side, we talk about the selling price and the net profit they would be generating by selling only the neem oil. Extraction and collection cost is 74 rupees. It is all in rupees per liter. And then because first we'll be focusing in India as a region. The collection cost, extraction cost would be 74 rupees. The marketing, we have taken 10% of the selling price, and distribution cost to be 10% of the selling price, which comes down to 18 rupees per liter. Then we have kept a cushion of 5% for miscellaneous cost, which could be converted into, if it's not used, we can add it to the profit as well.
There's 2 minutes left, so let's quickly cover this slide.
So looking into the profit, that will be 20% for the profit. And looking into the market side, if we see the personal care is 10 billion, if you go into the organic personal care, it is 1.5. And we have done few calculations, and we have asked them to focus on smaller companies first, so that they will be easier for them to focus, get that business. Going to the next slide, Radhika will take over and she'll talk about the social impact focus.
So all this profit we've generated, but for what? We are a company that is focused more on the social impact. So we will use this money to not just empower the community, support sustainable agriculture, educate and raise awareness, but also do very unique things like fund social enterprises, microfinance program, give loans for people who want to use neem oil products. Also do social entrepreneurship incubators. So foster innovation, get more people to do their own entrepreneurship as long as it's neem oil based. We will also collaborate with NGOs. So our commitment to sustainability and social responsibility will be prioritized over gaining any sort of monetary effects over the short term. Moving on to the next slide, I think we can just kind of skip this because I see that most of the people did cover the quantitative statistics. We've just evaluated how we are measuring the different things, whether it is number of jobs, amount of income generated, reducing water yield, etc. In the interest of time, we'll just we'll skip this slide. So talking about the additional impact highlights, we will take real world examples, transforming rural livelihoods. We will prevent all these millions of liters of harmful pesticides. We want our success to be very data driven. So we're talking about millions of income for communities and millions in environmental cost savings. Last thing that we would want to do is inspiring voices. We will get people to do some testimonials, like there was a mention by Honorable Narendra Modi ji.
10 minutes are up, please wrap it up.
Sure. So we could also get this positive influence of NEEM initiative by talking to the rural community and just interviewing them, getting to know how it has improved their lives. With that, we would like to end it, and we're open for questions. Thank you.
Yes, thanks team for the presentation. I think I only have one comment to make. All those slides were really nice. But I think there is a need for a more detailing into your revenue models and everything. So just to give you an example, right now, what you're considering is the whole FMCG market is available to you. The entire geographical regions of whatever you've mentioned is available to me. And on the basis of that, there is 20% of profit I learned, and all that market is available to me. And that's the potential business I can make, right?
No,
Would it be possible for me to complete? Yeah, or if you want to intervene, you want to say something, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Or shall I? Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, see, one comment, if I may, can complete, is you have to understand any profit or business analysis that you do. A company looks not only at the best case scenario, but also at the worst case scenario, right? The only comment I'm saying that you could improve your presentation by including that as well, because that gives me an idea that how detailed have you thought about your business plan. None of the businesses are thought on the basis of how much maximum you can make, right? So just incorporating that would just enhance your presentation that much. That's the only comment I have. Yeah, I don't need any response, a comment that I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your feedback. We'll incorporate that next time.
From my perspective, I'd like to start with the fact that I was impressed that despite the initial technical hurdles, neither of the presenters appeared to be flustered in any way, shape, or form, which is wonderful. And it shows that, if you do have hiccups, you just write them and you continue doing what you do best. I do have an observation on your design components. If you really think about it, you've gone and chosen Canva, that's fine. But think about what you're actually doing in terms of design. You've got three things essentially fighting with each other. You've got the design that sits within the Canva thing itself. Then you've got your own graphical elements. And then you've got, what I would describe as some very basic looking icons, which include, for example, your bullseye or whatever. Now, essentially, if you are going to use design is there to enhance, not detract from the text component of what you're trying to convey. So choose one theme and one theme only. Either you're going to do it the Canva way, which is some very interesting looking graphics. And if they are going to take up about a third of your landscape on the slide, then you need to adjust your wording accordingly. What I'm seeing, and I have seen on other occasions as well, is a competition between different types of graphics. And that's unhelpful to the case that you're making. So use design to enhance, not to detract from what you're saying. That's about it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Radhika and Mansi, it's the end of the day for us. So maybe our attention is also, my attention maybe is wavering a bit. But at the heart of your strategy, are you saying that only focus on neem oil and that's it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So we are saying don't go into FMCG because that's very highly competitive market. So they should focus in just producing neem oil and giving it to going into a B2B strategy.
B2B, and not only in India, but all over the world.
So
yes, so we do want to start with India first. So we're saying we want to do this sequentially, and India itself might take 5 to 8 years, depending on how we do it. So we say we first do India, then move to Asia and Africa and US eventually once we have that expertise.
Okay, so that's nice. The other is what is your sense about the kind of social impact that they're creating? How did you measure that, or what is your sense?
So talking about the social impact, as we can see, we told that we can expand into different states and employ local villagers to collect seeds. We have seen that the total potential of collecting neem seeds within India is more higher than what is actually collected. So it is a lot of neem seeds is wasted. So by educating the local villagers how to collect them and how to process them, in a sense that the drying process of the neem seeds, they can actually start making income for them that ways. And talking about the social impact, if you have seen the number, because of the time, we have seen that they have created 450,000 of jobs are created within 6 Indian states, which when they expand into different states, that number will be increasing. And the amount of income generated within these 6 states has been additional 5,000 million rupees.
So
And
did you do a one level deeper analysis to say that if I'm generating 500 million for 450,000 men and women, what is the per capita income that I'm generating and how is it distributed? Does it give you any sense of the social impact being created?
Oh, because of the time and the resources we had limited because we were 2 players.
So it's just divide into numbers, Mansi.
Yes, I get that, but we didn't do that.
All right. Okay. No, thanks.
Just to add on to your point, Saurabh, we did not get that number, but apart from all of these, we would also see, how much we're being able to educate how many people, and basis that how much our entrepreneurship incubator as well as microfinance program is actually seeing success. So that's another variable.
That's in future, yeah. That's in future, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So much, Team Powerpuffs. And we are really thankful to all the teams and all our esteemed judges for actually staying so late and making sure that you help our teams. I would like to extend individual thank you to all the judges, and I'd like to go in the order in which you actually provided your feedback. So, Professor Nishant Verma, thanks a lot for your in-depth suggestions and your remarks that you had personalized to the content that each of the presentations had. I think those were something we really appreciate. Mr. Chris Faria, thanks a lot for actually emphasizing the importance of communicating well and making sure you bring out the core idea of the slides before you go ahead onto in-depth analysis. And your suggestions were really amazing. They were indispensable. I wrote down a few of them myself. Thanks a lot, Professor Saurabh Mukherjee, for not just providing valuable detailed feedback to each of the teams, but actually helping us streamline the entire session as well. And
do we need to
lastly,
come tomorrow, or are you going to relieving us for tomorrow and get a fresh set of judges?
so sir, we would really appreciate it if you could make it tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And lastly, thank you a lot, Mr. Anubhav Dubey, who actually brought out a very fresh perspective and a very youthful side and a very youthful narrative to the entire feedback. And we're really, really happy that you guys could make time for us. And if any of you have a couple of words that you'd like to share with us in closing before we wrap it up, that would be really appreciated.
I'm happy to share that having worked on globally complex projects, I understand that these slides don't just happen by themselves. A huge amount of time, energy, emotion, and emotional capital gets invested in all of these, and it clearly comes through in the materials you'll have done. A couple of tips, if I may suggest. Understand the rules of engagement. If you are going to be allocated 10 minutes, ask yourself, are you realistically going to be able to get those points across in 10 minutes? For those of you who didn't show your slides to reviewers outside of your own team, you might want to do that, because reviewers would ask obvious questions, which may not be obvious to you because you're looking at it from the inside out, but people looking at it from the outside in may have a different perspective. So do I recognize the physical, intellectual, and emotional energy that has gone into all the slides? Absolutely. Do I respect that? Absolutely. And I say, thank you very much. You all have done a wonderful job. And I'm honored to have served as a judge and to share some of my knowledge and experience of the years in how to make your content as powerful as it could be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Professor Saurabh?
Me? Okay, yeah. So I know we are halfway there. So at this point of time, I can only say that quite impressive. There was a range of performance, I must say that, and especially the ones which I liked had very deep analysis. And I always look at, insights that are driven by analysis, and I saw plenty of them, not in all the teams, but in many of them. So I really loved it. And this is a case with which I have been personally involved. So it's very delightful to even see something new coming up about a case or a situation which I thought I knew everything about, right? So that's very, very impressive.
Thank you so much, Professor.
And there is always also a value of learning from your co-judges. So I think when I listen to Chris and when I listen to Nishant, that also is a learning experience.
Thank you so much for the kind words, sir. Professor Nishant?
Yeah, not much left, but yes. See, as I started, when I joined this event, my aim was to learn myself. That's the selfish way I entered this. And yes, I mean, one enters with one own perspective, and then you listen to these really sharp mind and their way of putting things up. And yes, we are trained to, as Professor Saurav said, we are trained to see into the details, and then we really want to see that. And some of you really did a great job. Others also did a great job. It's just that if we can all learn from each other, you'll realize that I mean, the impact is highest when you are able to back your arguments and talks with the kind of analysis that you do. But great job, all of you. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
So one quick comment for the organizers. When I'm looking at my evaluation sheet, there are two teams which does not have names. They have some very big numbers associated. So I am assuming that either they will get a name by tomorrow, or you will have to tell us that that complex number is the team, etc. So thankfully, all the teams today had names. So it was easy to identify them. But if I see the names tomorrow, please check on two of them, which seem to be having fairly complex numbers to identify them.
We'll definitely inform them on it, sir.
Yeah, that is one. I am hoping that tomorrow we can wrap up a bit early. I know that Prince has now gone and changed to block the time between 9 and 12. Earlier, he was hopeful 9 and 11. Now it is 9 and 12. So, but let us work towards making it sharp. Today, we know that initially there was a bit of introduction and all those things, but it will be nice if we can wrap up faster tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We'll definitely
All right.
look through it.
All right.
With this, we conclude the first half of GSRC, Global Social Responsibility Challenge 2023 for round 3. I'm extremely thankful to everyone for helping us shape this event the way we envisioned it, and we can't wait for the next time. Now, before we leave, can I just request everybody to turn on the cameras, just a quick screenshot. We would be taking a picture if it was an offline, so this works, I guess. Just a small request for everybody. All right, then thank you so much. I'll just click up and take a screenshot. Smile. Thank you, everyone.
See you.
Good night, everyone.